Okay, we'll just put this here and see if this gets us clear enough. Suck it in, suck it in, suck it in. If you're Rin Tin Tin or Anne Boleyn, make a desperate move or else you'll win, and then begin to see what you're doing to me. This MTV is not for free. It's so PC, it's killing me. So desperately I sing to thee of love. Sure, but also of rage and hate and pain and fear of self. And I can't keep these feelings on the shelf. I've tried. Well, no, in fact, I lied. Could be financial suicide, but I've got too much pride inside to hide or slide. I'll do as I decide and let it ride until I've died, and only then shall I abide this tide of catchy little tunes, of hip 3-minute ditties. I want to bust all your balloons. I want to burn all of your cities to the ground. I've found I will not mess around unless I play. Then, hey, I will go on all day. Hear what I say. I have a prayer to say. That's really all this was. And when I'm feeling stuck and need a buck, I don't rely on luck, because the hook will bring you back. So this is my first light topic. I want to talk about a few lighthearted things before we dive into some heavy shit.
Okay.
But
what's that?
I was thinking, this is an unformed topic, but recently we had a little playlist. You were sorting your vitamins, and I was like, I know, I'll come up with a playlist for the sorting of the vitamins.
Yes.
And I put on a whole bunch of songs going way back to the 60s. Well, that's not really that far back, but in terms of recorded music, it's pretty far back. But started with the Strawberry Alarm Clock and listened to some animals and zombies and stuff like that. And then I was like, I should bring up some of these 90s songs I used to listen to.
That were like descendants of that.
Descendants, yeah. So I had when I was commuting from Ann Arbor to one of my early jobs at Fry Multimedia every morning. It's only a 20-minute drive back when Plymouth Road was 2 lanes.
Dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Yeah, and dinosaurs roamed the earth. I would listen to... It was actually a lovely drive. Not too... Traffic wasn't too heavy. It was sort of just enough time for me to get my head into the game, like transition from at-home mode to at-work mode and think about what I was working on. But I listened to a radio station called 89X, and I didn't necessarily know the names of all these songs, but I found some songs that I really loved and looked forward to hearing again, and then they'd come on and I'd be like, hey, it's that song again. And I would even memorize the lyrics and sing along with them, just having heard them so many times, having really very little idea of who the band was or what their album was or anything else.
Right. It's that song on the radio.
So many of these songs I didn't even know the titles of until years later. But here are 3. That one was Blues Traveler, a song called The Hook. You know what? That actually probably came later. But I don't remember what year it's from, but it's sort of emblematic of what I liked in those songs. I think it has a lot of the same elements, and it has this section that is just this, it has a wonderful harmonica solo, and it has this section that is just this high-speed rap of gibberish.
Yes.
But it's not entirely gibberish, it's funny.
It's funny, it's lyrical, and yeah.
And the song is like it was written for English majors, because the title of the song recurs in the chorus, and in the verses they recontextualize the phrase "the hook" into at least 3 meanings.
3 meanings of the hook.
Meanings, and including, of course, the obvious one of a hook in a pop song.
Yes.
But also the hook that, like a theater manager tries to use to pull you off the stage.
Right? And they also explicitly mention Peter Pan,
and Captain Hook. And right, it's
very funny.
It's incredibly clever, and maybe too clever,
That's too clever.
Well, this it's kind of like who's this humor for? Well, it's for you if you find it funny.
Yeah,
if you get it.
Funny.
Yeah.
Right.
But so someone must have cataloged this kind of thing as a genre, and okay, how would I describe this genre? It's like a sub-genre, but it's like 90s pop songs sung with pseudo-rap lyrics.
Oh, right.
Either spoken, like either completely spoken or sort of spoken sung.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like Frank Sinatra, but like in the '90s vibe.
And often doing it at high velocity.
Yes, yes.
They're not all high velocity though, but they tend to tell like little digressions and stories on top of the music.
Yeah.
And so there's a famous one, Bare Naked Ladies 1 Week.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, yeah.
And I'm told
Same variety.
told that song actually the lyrics for it were improvised, like the rap breakdown part. Like I mean, he probably had some notes, but
maybe.
Like I don't know who it is, but like.
But you gotta know the best raps are improvised.
Yes.
Like you're just in the flow, and
right.
you just
Yeah. So
out it comes.
And some of my favorite bits from that one is Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken. You have a drumstick and your brain stops ticking. Watching X-Files with no lights on. We're dans la maison, which I didn't even realize at the time was a French phrase. It's like we're eating outdoors, like we're out of doors, I think.
Dans la maison.
Yeah.
Oh, not inside. Right.
I hope the smoking man's in this one, like Harris.
Oh, I thought Dans la maison were like a brand of shoe.
No.
When I heard the song.
He's singing Dans la maison. Anyway.
Not in the house.
I hope the smoking man's in this one. Like Harrison Ford, I'm getting frantic. Like Sting, I'm tantric. Like Snickers, guaranteed to satisfy. Like Kurosawa, I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai. Yeah, absolutely. Like, who wouldn't? Right. Anyway, so another example of that sort of pseudo-genre across space and time in bands. And then there's also like similar but not entirely dissimilar. No, dissimilar but not whatever.
The thing, yeah,
is the whole band Sublime. They one of their famous songs goes, "I don't practice Santeria. I ain't got no crystal ball." And he sings so plaintively, it's funny. He goes, "I had $1 million, but I spent it all."
All of it's gone.
And I don't know. I know their lyrics are sexist and violent and all that, but they're really funny to me still.
Oh gosh, one of my favorite songs is that song, "If You Want to Be Happy for the Rest of Your Life."
Find a good woman to be your wife, is that right?
Don't ask a pretty girl to marry you, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the lyrics are grotesque.
Grotesque.
but
yeah.
But it's got a good beat.
Yeah, so the Santeria song, it says, "Tell Sanchito if he knows what's good for him, he best go run and hide. Daddy's got a new 45. And I won't think twice to stick that barrel straight down Sancho's throat. Believe me when I say that I've got something for his podcast." Anyway.
Right.
So
yeah, it's not necessarily about the lyrics. But
I should try to come up with a playlist, because there are a whole lot of songs that are like similar. That specifically is like a Southern California. It's like post-grunge, but they brought in some grunge elements together with like ska and reggae and like I don't know, beach culture, like Long Beach, I guess.
I'm not a California girl.
Yeah. Yeah. She's crossing herself, yeah. But anyway, I
couldn't tell you.
I feel like in the rearview mirror, in retrospect, these are little genres.
Oh yeah.
Right, that popped
style
up,
lines.
And they were across many different bands and labels. Some of them were localized, as in all these bands are from this little geographic area. Just like grunge started in a small, Seattle and Portland, and
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm stuck on the Dans la Maison line. It's like Alex the Seal.
Alex the Seal.
Like I was convinced he was talking about like kicking back with a certain type of shoe called Don LeMays.
Yeah, sorry.
And he had them on.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. I there were a lot of lyrics that I listened to in high school, including some Thomas Dolby songs, that I just tried to come up with words for them, and it turns out I was completely wrong, because sometimes he would use phrases in German and other languages,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, wow, I didn't get that at all.
Oh. I wasn't, not even close.
I was trying to make sense of it, and it was barely
sensible.
Right. So, and it just reminds us that a lot of, at that age, we're trying to find profound meaning in these words, but oftentimes, they just made them up on the spot. And
to match the lyric, not the lyric, the melody.
Oftentimes, producers would do the music track first, and sometimes they just tell the singer just wing it in the studio, and that's what we got.
That's the song. That's what's on the radio now.
Right. Not always, but that happened.
It's a thing.
I was talking again about the Eurythmics song "Sweet Dreams Are Made of This." That melody and whatnot is unbelievably catchy. It's an earworm that's lasted 40 years now, over 40 years.
It's creeping up on 50.
Yeah, and that song was just thrown together. They recorded that album. Stewart and Lennox recorded that album very, very quickly in an apartment, right?
Yes.
With a 2-track, tape, like a reel-to-reel, or maybe a 4. I don't know, but it was very quick and dirty.
Yes.
And by all accounts, Stewart had come up with this groove, and then Annie Lennox just improvised over it, and that was the lyric.
I mean, it doesn't hurt that she can sing anything, but
that she's a great singer. Yes,
yeah.
That certainly doesn't hurt. But just sort of came up with these lyrics that now we try to think of as profound and meaningful. It's they didn't at the time.
It is a profound meaning.
Right.
She was riffing on a Saturday afternoon.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah. So they're just going to capture a mood, and they've got something to go along with this cool synth riff.
They captured something.
Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Yeah.
So that's one fun topic, I think.
See, there's some fun.
There's some fun. We have a happy life here in the Potts house. I wanted to talk briefly also about this book that I'm holding in my hand now. I'll just hold it up so everyone can see it.
Oh, okay. Wow, look at that.
This is a novel by Charles Stross called The Regicide Report. And I'm looking at the shelf behind your head.
Behind your head? I'm crushing your head.
On the shelf are first edition, signed in many cases, copies of The Atrocity Exhibition. Actually, I think only the first two are signed. The Jennifer Morgue.
Oh, is that all?
The Fuller Memorandum. The Apocalypse Codex. The Rhesus Chart. Sorry, my eyes aren't very good. The Annihilation Score. The Nightmare Stacks. Escape from Yokai Land. The Delirium Brief. The Labyrinth Index. A Conventional Boy. Dead Lies Dreaming. Quantum of Nightmares, and Season of Skulls. So Charles Stross in, I think, what was it, 2002? I looked it up, and now, of course, I've forgotten. I think it was 2002, started writing this series, which originally started out as a couple of novellas, and the first one became The Atrocity Archives, and these are stories of The Laundry, which is a British intelligence agency, fictional, that is so close to actual British intelligence agencies of the past that you wonder if he's actually been read into the Official Secrets Act, right? If he has access to
Do you have that?
secret
come on,
documents.
what are you looking at?
But they're hilariously funny because he basically took the Cthulhu mythos of H.P. Lovecraft and plus all of his favorite spy novels and put them in a blender. And plus a lot of modern jokes about being an IT professional and computer science. and put them in a blender. And the thing he did that made this series, I think, especially gave it a lot of reread value and longevity, is for a while, I think he got away from it for a little bit, but for at least the first few books and then some of the later books, every book was a pastiche of a particular spy writer. So there's the Jennifer Morgue is an Ian Fleming pastiche, right? And then one of them, which one is which? One of them is Len Dayton, and in the back of the book, he would do a little essay talking about that writer and what he loved about them. And then so this all covered initially. The hero was Bob Howard, who was this young British IT guy who winds up discovering that writing certain code exposes one to something called computational demonology, where you can wind up like summoning things from another dimension or in reality. And then people who have discovered this basically get made an offer they're not allowed to refuse to be recruited into the laundry, right? So now, over 20 years later, he's a DSS. What does DSS stand for? Anyway, he's a very high grade executive in the laundry who still does field work. Oh, DSS stands for Deeply Scary Sorcerer. So he's now an extremely powerful. He's a manager who also still does field work, which is what every programmer strives to do, but winds up getting recruited into management and never touching a computer again. Anyway, so that's part of his arc is the conflict over being forced to go into management just by virtue of his experience. Anyway, the last book. So he gets away from Bob, who was the character you start the series with, and really holds a special place in my heart. And he goes through a lot of other characters, including Bob's wife, a woman who becomes his wife named Mo, who now eventually also becomes a senior auditor in the laundry. And things get weirder and weirder, and eventually they can no longer cover up like the supernatural intrusions that are happening. And at one point, they're like a flotilla of dragons and elves break into reality.
Wow. Okay.
In present day London, right? And basically, they can no longer claim to the general public that nothing weird is going on. It's escaped containment, if you will. And then Nyarlathotep, the crawling horror, a manifestation known as the Black Pharaoh, becomes the Prime Minister of the UK.
Oh. Seems appropriate.
And this is called the New Management.
Wait, so
arc.
did his code didn't bring dragons in from another realm, right?
Not him specifically.
Oh.
But basically all of this stuff is being documented and becoming more active because, as Lovecraft puts it, the stars are coming right. In other words, it's like the time for the cosmic conjunctions where the walls between reality becomes paper thin. Right. So anyway, all of this. So he sort of, because it's taken so long to write this series of that many books, he started to leave. Time has moved faster than it did, in the books. So we're ahead in the future of where these books are now.
Right.
But they've also taken a slightly alternate timeline. And there's a point to this. This book is about the death of Queen Elizabeth.
Oh.
But it's happening years before it happened in our timeline.
In our timeline. Because...
And it's happening because of an assassination, that she was poisoned. And is now going to be stored in a glass coffin, aka Snow White, or no, Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty, Incorruptible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought Snow White wasn't. It was Sleeping Beauty in a glass coffin. I don't remember who was.
Well, okay, someone's in a glass.
Someone's in a glass coffin.
No,
it
must be Snow White because it's Operation Codename Fairest. Fairest, who's the fairest of them all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Snow White.
So it's a Snow White story, but they're going to basically end the monarchy by putting the monarch in suspended animation in a glass coffin, and they're going to use all the magical energy of all the people that believe in the monarchy and to feed into the preservation of government and the devolution of government into basically an administrative state that's no longer really led as much as it was by a monarch. In other words, Prince Charles will take over in at least
in name only.
In name only, right? Which is what's happened.
Which is what's happened.
And so Stross is always playing with all these alternate timelines and alternate events and alternate understanding of events that have happened. Mm-hmm. Now, here's where it gets a little weird, and personally,
this is where it gets weird.
Into this synchronicity thing that's been happening to me recently that's making me question my sanity, because perhaps the stars are coming right, Okay. So a few days ago, I had ordered this book. I had not read any plot summaries or whatnot.
You just ordered it.
Because I'm like, I think this is the last in the main series. He may revisit it, but this is the last of them, at least the main arc. Mm-hmm. And it's a sad day to read the final novel in a series about a character that you've been following for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. But I had ordered the book. It wasn't here yet, and I was browsing around on archive.org, Internet Archive, looking for some Vincent Price movies.
Because who wouldn't?
As one does.
Yeah.
And I found this film called The Abominable Doctor Phibes. Mm-hmm. And I downloaded it, as one does, and was planning to watch it.
It's a terrible movie.
Of course it's a terrible movie.
Just in case you aren't familiar with Vincent Price. It's terrible, but you want to watch.
Well, let me put it this way. It actually has a pretty high rating. It's become kind of a cult favorite.
Yeah.
Right. And as cheesy horror films go, it's one of the better ones.
Yes.
Right.
But it's a cheesy horror film.
It's a cheesy horror film. If you're not into this kind of genre of film or willing to tolerate cheesiness, then no, this is not for you.
This is not for you. Yeah.
But
there's also a certain set that's oh, so Vincent Price, wasn't he that was 50 years ago? No, that was 80 years ago. Oh, so a film actor. Yes. Not that kind of film.
Yeah, right. Well, he did do serious films, but he didn't really get popular and funny and famous until he started doing cheesy horror, because it turns out that was his niche. It's like Leslie Nielsen. He did a lot of serious roles, but it turns out that he wasn't very good at being deadpan enough or dramatic enough unless it was deadpan humor.
Right. He's funny.
Yes.
He can't not be funny.
He can't not be funny.
Right.
When he tries to be
serious,
completely serious, it's just
funny.
Yeah. So anyway, but this is not to criticize him. He's great. I love watching his films. He's so much fun.
Yeah.
We just
absolute blast.
And there's another weird coda to this book.
Keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
So anyway, I start reading this book, and there's a character in Buckingham Palace who's the Queen's personal physician, and it turns out that it's Doctor Phibes.
What are the odds?
Yes. And then all this stuff starts to happen, and you discover the characters are discovering that he's a 100-and-some-year-old, apparently vampire or whatnot.
Kind of vampire
and
guy.
His wife and mistress, two different people, are
his wife and his mistress.
Yeah, are also like ancient
Undead,
people who
somehow.
crop up repeatedly throughout history,
For some
especially the
reason.
history of espionage and international, right? And then one of the characters in the book gives Bob and Mo a DVD double set of 2 Doctor Phibes movies. And they take them home and watch them. They have to get really drunk to make it through the films because they're so horrible.
They're bad.
But this is so Stross is playing this deep game, right? It's quite amazing to watch, right? Because the first movie is the movie, The Abominable Dr. Phibes.
Yes.
And everything about it is congruent with what's actually going on in the book.
Right.
And you're like, wow.
Oh.
But then there's a sequel. There is a real sequel.
Actually a sequel.
But the sequel they describe watching is not the sequel that's out in our universe.
Right.
So at some point, our universe diverged from their universe, and the sequel that they describe is really funny. It sets up everything that's going to happen in the rest of the novel.
Right.
It's also a horrifying, cheesy movie,
Right.
but different. And so now I'm downloading the second Dr. Phibes movie.
Which is actually bad.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as good. It's not going to be a cult favorite like the first one. Well, maybe it will be now.
Maybe it will be now. I don't know. Let's see.
Anyway, it's just, this was such a weird synchronicity that the plot of this book is around this movie that I just happened to download and haven't even watched yet. And then we also are lining up some movies to watch for our latest movie night.
But this is important.
Yeah.
I asked for this movie independent of anything else that's happening here.
Yes.
So, like, you were searching this, and you got this book, and I wasn't involved in that.
Right.
And I was like, you know what would be a nice movie? You know what I'd like to watch?
Which?
Dragonwyck.
Dragonwyck, yes. Dragonwyck.
Yes. Which is a Golden Age
Vincent Price movie. Yeah. So we were going to watch Dragonwyck, but we ran out of time in movie night last night. But we did watch another movie that I had gotten from Internet Archive as one of our shorter warm-up shorts. Mm-hmm. And it was Here Comes Peter Cottontail. It was a Rankin Bass Easter special from 1971 or 2, about the same time as the Phibes movie.
Phibes movies, yes.
And it turns out that the villain in that...
The villain?
The voice acting for the villain is Vincent Price. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
How is this man turning up in our lives? What's this, 6 times in 1 week?
Yeah.
5?
Yeah.
4? I don't know. But it's a lot.
Right, it's a lot. Anyway, so I wanted to open with these little stories that I think are like making life joyful and worth living now. So,
oh yeah, this fun little joy.
I am going to have to pause because the batteries in my recorder are nearly dead and I have to run and get a new set of batteries.
Do what you must.
So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So I guess what I'm saying is I would recommend the Laundry Files novels to people.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I recommend them is because they can introduce you. They can act as sort of a Rosetta Stone or decoder ring to whole genres of fiction that you might not otherwise get into. So one of the books, one of the recent books, is called Season of Skulls. And is that the previous one? Maybe it's the previous one.
Could be.
I can't even keep track. I did not write these comments out in advance, but some of you may be aware of a British TV show called The Prisoner, which is a freaky spy drama / science fiction story. And I think in that novel, Stross just co-opts the prisoner, the whole world of the prisoner.
Oh, right.
And just sets a story in it. So one of his characters shows up on the same bizarre fictional island.
I have so many questions about that practice. I think it's a thing that people do. And I've noticed that sometimes authors, like, go to court.
Take them to court?
Right. And other times, they don't. And I'm not sure what the precise difference is.
How some writers get away with it, some don't.
Right. Is it like a power differential thing? Is it like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
We were talking about this, like whether Stross actually just borrowed Phibes, the mysterious, horrifying doctor character, because it's out of, like, maybe it's fallen into the public domain. Maybe no one defended or renewed the copyright on the film.
Right. Or no one's interested in defending copyright on it.
Or did he get probably through his publisher? Did his publisher do the paperwork and to get permission to use Dr. Phibes to avoid potential lawsuit? I don't think anyone was literally itching to make a reboot or a sequel
Phibes.
or a prequel of Dr. Phibes. That wasn't in the cards.
Right.
That kind of character is out of fashion. That kind of horror is out of style.
It's out of fashion. No one's into it right now.
Right, but
that I'm aware of. Although I think it's poised for a comeback.
Well, here's the thing: all of these creative waves, including in film, that we're watching, like we were watching a lot of noir films. After these traumatic cultural upheavals, like World War II, there's a good decade of really fascinating, like, fertilization that happens. As for fiction and film and everything else, post-trauma.
Yes.
And it's our, like, way of culturally sort of digesting the trauma and working out the trauma. And we still have not really had a reckoning, like we haven't caught up with COVID.
The cultural trauma.
Pandemic.
Right. No.
The personal loss, the trauma, the dislocation,
Still unfolding, honestly.
Still unfolding, but, like, people have tried, but if you are too early, your book doesn't sell, your movie doesn't take off, your whatever doesn't work with people. It has to be the stars have to come right, and then there can be this whole fruitful, like, period. And same thing with, like, the Trump years. If Trump had not been reelected, I think we'd be in a process of seeing a lot of fictional work and whatnot that's sort of about the first term.
It's like been just like 12 years.
Yeah. It's like it's
10 years. 10 years, actually.
The working through of the trauma from Trump's first term, and all the mental and emotional issues that were stirred up in everyone.
Yes.
But because he was now back in power, all that's kind of suspended because people don't want to lose their jobs. They're afraid of, being the shit stirrer in their, families and personal lives and whatnot.
Really?
They're not ready because it's still
as
unfolding.
a widespread cultural, because it's unfolding. It's the cultural digestion of that interlude has not taken place yet.
We're not ready to tell the story,
and I think
because we don't have an ending for it.
And I think 45 never left the scene.
Right.
Right.
Not really.
Like, this is his third run.
Yes.
Right. Not his second. So.
That's true.
And then spent the 4 years after his second run, like, stirring the pot.
Stirring shit up and working with all these ideologues and Heritage Foundation and other foundation people to, like, plan for another term. They could hit the ground running.
Was there any such cultural thing for the second Bush administration? I think there's been a lot for the Reagan administration.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any for the first Bush administration.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any for the Clinton administrations. I don't know that I've seen any for the second Bush administration.
Yeah.
And all the cultural wrecking that I've seen is around Reagan. And sort of like, what's the word? The popular thing is everything, whatever bad thing is happening, it's Reagan's fault. And people say that both as a joke and both as instruction. That you're experiencing something terrible? Oh, that's actually Ronald Reagan's fault. Let me explain how. And I don't see that. Like, okay, I know I say, oh yeah, that is fucked up. You know whose idea that was? That was Bill Clinton's idea.
Right. Because you keep score.
I absolutely keep score.
Yeah.
And maybe that's happening because I have moved further and further out of mainstream politics and observation even.
You don't really follow. Well, yeah, funny. It's funny now we've changed places in some ways because I'll come to you and say, hey, did you hear what so-and-so senator, I give the name, said? And you're like, who's that?
Who is that? Is he a Republican?
And now I'm the one that knows
trying to explain
all the senators and reps and all their shenanigans.
So, so that historical context. So maybe someone is doing a deep dive, and there is in the cultural mainstream a digestion of the Clinton years, and a sort of like digestion and not even appreciation, but just like reflection on Bush 2. Mm-hmm. I would not expect at this point for there to be any kind of genuine mainstream culture-wide reflection on Obama's terms.
Yeah. You know what?
Not at all.
I'm just thinking in terms of these past upheavals like World War II and World War I, and how long it took for them to sort of percolate through and become this rich period of fiction and film.
Well, and I think that actually takes like 20 years, though.
It could, but also, although you're talking about Bush and whatnot, I think also what's happened recently is like these upheavals have become faster and faster. Faster and
faster. They're like just a gish gallop of upheavals.
They're keeping people knocked on their back feet, and like the artists and producers and writers and whatnot are having a hard time. Well, comedians complain that they can't even keep up. With
reality's funnier
than... You can't write jokes about the Trump administration because the next day they're all obsolete.
They're all obsolete, exactly. It's ridiculous.
Something even more bizarre,
Orwellian, perverse
has happened, and no one wants to hear about the previous thing anymore.
Thing that happened, right?
Yeah.
No, I, in terms of cultural upheaval, I'm still waiting for a public, and I'll never get it. I've accepted at this point I'll never get it. But I still want it, though.
Yeah.
No, about the Kennedy, not his administration, but his campaign.
Say more.
So Kennedy, I know this is going to sound ridiculous in 2026, but when Kennedy was running against Nixon, he actually didn't have a leg to stand on. And like, he didn't have like sort of the background, he didn't have the sort of like political connection chops that Nixon had. And worst of all, he was at the time a cultural outsider as an Irish Catholic. And so Kennedy made what was, for the moment, a shocking and devastating turn in how he wanted to conduct the campaign. He moved the campaign onto television because he was prettier than Nixon.
Right. And that was a huge change.
And that forever changed campaigning in the United States.
Before that, you could actually become a viable presidential candidate while still looking bald and sweaty or whatever.
Looking like whatever.
Yeah.
And honestly, most people had only ever seen posed photos of you in the newspaper.
Of the candidates.
Yeah, they kind of didn't know what you looked like. Most people did not know that, and you mentioned this the other day, most people didn't know that Franklin Delano Roosevelt was in a wheelchair.
Right.
Like he was, and it wasn't a thing, because most people didn't see that or know that about him or weren't fully aware of that about him.
Yeah, now we're like, if Trump is standing funny or walking funny.
Everyone's photographing and speculating.
They're like sharing screenshots of like, why does his hand look like that? Why is he...
Exactly.
Right.
And it is John F. Kennedy that made that decision because that was the only chip he had to play against
I'm
Nixon.
prettier than my opponent.
I'm prettier than he is. Put us both on camera. Yeah. Put us on camera next to each other. That'll be great. And it was, and he won.
It's way worse now because NTSC broadcast television in the 60s was pretty low resolution, right?
Yes.
So it actually hit a multitude of sins.
Yes.
But now, like, everything is, these HD cameras and...
They can see the line of your sunscreen.
4K. Yeah, right. Yeah, your spray tan.
They can see the line.
Display.
It's right there on the camera.
Your stubble, your acne, whatever it is, the bags under your eyes.
Yep, fully visible to the public.
Yeah.
Not hiding anything.
Sorry, I'm making noise, but
Make noise. You're actually here, so.
But I'm on
with a body
recording.
Making noises.
I just had to change the batteries, and now the other batteries are rolling around on the table. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know that the United States is going to have a conversation about that and how we actually, for more than a century, held elections and functioned as a government.
Yeah.
Without our candidates being on television and being vetted visually.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it was the predecessor to running a campaign on social media. Right?
It was, the early version.
The early version of that.
Of style over substance.
And Nixon, frankly, never recovered from that.
Yeah.
There was footage of him getting ready to go on stage next to Kennedy, and he was had become acutely aware that he was not the pretty one, right?
Yes.
And he would be sweating.
Yes.
Like God knows what, just shaking about getting on the stage next, which of course, the Kennedy campaign released that footage.
Right.
It was just unreal to run an election that way. And we have run elections like that ever since. It's the reason Ronald Reagan had an edge on Carter.
Right, he was a trained actor.
He's a trained actor.
I say actor, but he was, let's face it, he was a spokesmodel.
Right?
Right.
So he was on camera.
Yeah.
And I know that this is a subjective, but prettier on camera.
Yeah.
And more poised on camera than Carter would ever be in his life.
Charismatic.
Yes. I mean, people came to love Jimmy Carter.
Yes.
And the sight of him on... And they were having an emotional experience that was not on the camera.
Right.
With Jimmy Carter.
Right.
But...
no, specifically with Reagan, there was this avuncular,
charismatic, engaging. George W. Bush had the same thing on camera.
Oh, God.
Where, an ordinary person could look at him, completely, ignorant of politics, and just be like, oh, I like that guy.
I think they would say accurately that he looks like someone I'd like to have at my barbecue or whatnot. And that's true.
It's people said that.
Right.
Because it's true. That's how he looks.
He would be fun to have at a barbecue, especially since he's going to get
He's going to get wasted and tell you everything you want to know. I'm just saying. You're right. So he read that way on camera in a way that John Kerry was never going to read on camera.
Yeah.
In a way that Al Gore was never, ever going to read on camera.
I liked the criticism of Kerry, the satirization of Kerry that made him suddenly start speaking angry French. Right, remember that? The Lord! What was it? Some satirical piece that was saying suddenly Kerry's kind demeanor dropped, his face twisted into a twisting mass of icy Gallic fury. The Lord! He screamed,
you don't even know. Right, screaming in French.
In French, exactly.
Well.
It was so funny.
Thank you, Senator.
Yes.
So...
That didn't happen, by the way. But
that was a parody.
People felt that it was on the verge of happening.
On the verge of that. And on point for him.
Yes.
And on point for him.
Yeah.
So, if you look at any matchup going forward, except for Ford's limited presidency, which he didn't run.
Yeah.
He didn't run for office.
Yeah.
It's always played out as this sort of media game on the camera. Versus, and not to say that it wasn't a media game before.
And now even...
It was a different kind of media game.
Now even the right is trying to catch Trump asleep. It's a war on wokeness, right?
Yeah.
Asleep in cabinet meetings.
All full scale.
Or
all fronts, war on wokeness.
So
sleep at all times.
But they're like, but you're right. It's still largely about what he's doing on camera. The antics on camera,
right? Like
and whether
right.
he looks like he's, dying today.
Is he dying? Is he awake? Is he healthy? Is he what's going on?
Right.
And I just want to be clear. It's gross to have the conversation on the terms of like his health.
Right.
Right. It's gross to move the conversation there.
Sure.
But just like it. The reason they hid FDR's disability status.
Disease, yeah.
I think he was like I thought it was post polio, but what
Well, he had something called Addison's disease.
The reason that never made it to like front page news, front and center, is everyone knew where it would shift the conversation about him.
Yeah.
And they decided not to have that conversation about him. I mean, really, in service of his campaign. And once people liked him in office, there was no stopping him, right? But frankly, we're not as polite about disability in 2026 as we were during Franklin Delano Roosevelt's campaign.
Absolutely not.
We ought to be ashamed. Because there's so many things to say other than that, he's a fat old man that is close to death. There's so many other things to say. Like, as if that's the most important thing for us to talk about.
It may in fact be true, but it's...
I feel like that's so far beside the point.
If we spend all our time talking about that, we're not talking about all the actual scandals.
We're not talking about the fact that he's a fascist. Or at least I've actually maintained
what else is going on?
I've maintained that, personally, I don't think he's a fascist. I think he's an opportunist. But he's enabling fascists because he sees an opportunity.
We've gone... Yeah, I've been yelling for years that Trump is not the cause, Trump is the symptom.
So yes, so instead of talking about any of the germane points, we're discussing his appearance, his age, and his health status. And I feel like that's literally irrelevant.
And we've just seen what looks to be another staged assassination attempt to like...
You know what? I wasn't there. I don't have any information, but I don't buy it.
They are trolling us so fucking hard. So Carolyn Levitt was interviewed just moments before this event saying, she was like, rhetorically, there's going to be some shots fired tonight.
Like, really?
And then...
Really? That's wild.
Minutes after
Funny you should say that.
The news came out. Well, first of all, if you look at the footage, it's comically bizarre and weird what actually happened. So the first person they rushed off the stage very carefully directed him to a different exit, a different direction, was Vance.
Yeah.
Right, they took him out one way. Now there may be a perfectly reasonable explanation for this.
Maybe they flipped it, I don't know.
Like they plan to take for continuity of administration purposes, they plan to take people to different safe houses or different locations.
Yes.
Right? So that may have been planned, but it's funny to see them rush Vance off the stage, and then Trump is sitting there. The people next to him look terrified. Trump does not look terrified. He looks smug. Like, yep, happening just the way we planned it, or something like that.
Yes.
So then they take Trump out, and he trips and falls, and they're picking him back up because he can barely walk, But then apparently, what I've heard, this is not verified yet, but apparently they left Melania hiding under the table for some time.
Oh, that was the third location.
And then came back and got her later.
Like they separated, and that was her.
Oh, by the way, has anyone seen Melania? Oh shit. Her own husband doesn't give a shit whether she lives or dies. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that was her undisclosed location.
Yeah, there it was. Anyway,
and it kind of throws you off. You're looking for her, you're looking around, and she's there. She's still there. She hasn't left.
Yeah.
But you've left because you're looking for her. Amazing plan.
Addison's disease, a condition that affects the adrenal glands and leads to insufficient hormone productions, which gives you osteoporosis and all kinds of problems. But yeah, his spine was in terrible shape. He was in extreme pain a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And so was Kennedy, and he scrupulously kept that off camera.
This was Kennedy. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Kennedy. I was talking about FDR.
Yeah. Oh, I
thought FDR was in a wheelchair because of polio.
He was post-polio.
Yes.
Kennedy had
Kennedy had Addison's disease. But
he had too, but that one in particular. Okay, so this is a segue.
Oh yeah, let's segue. I can talk about history and
Of
politics
course.
for 8 hours straight. Sorry.
And often have. Well, last night we gave a little lecture to the kids.
Yeah.
We were talking about the movie. Well, I wanted you to.
Okay.
We were about to watch Dragonwyck. I had planned 2 old black and white films plus a couple of shorts, and one of them was Footlight Parade, starring James Cagney, which is one of the most amazing musicals of that whole era.
Yes.
And it features what is probably Busby Berkeley's most famous set piece with all the women diving into the water and doing these incredibly elaborate, like, human flower arrangements, and
it's something else.
It's hard. It's jaw dropping.
Yes, I think the funniest thing about it in the movie is that for the entire rest of the movie, like for the first part of the movie leading up to that scene, they're rehearsing all these bits, and the bits are like elementary school plays.
Yes, they're silly.
They're silly.
Cheesy. They're kind of very low
Budget, low
touch.
Everything.
Yeah.
Low brow.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like,
like the Honeymoon Hotel thing is incredibly lowbrow. This is also we should mention that it's pre-code, which all the jokes are dirty.
All the jokes are dirty.
And if you don't get it, it's just because you don't know enough about the context as to why it was.
Why it was a dirty joke?
Yeah.
But like every quip is a dirty joke.
Yeah.
And
as long as there's a street, you'll always have a place to walk.
as long as there's a street, you'll have a place to work. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Right.
Like she's mad because she lost her job. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. But the bits they're doing and the rehearsing, and they're just putting hours and hours into rehearsing these terrible musical numbers.
Yes, it's so that they can draw this contrast.
Right? And then they actually do the musical numbers like...
it's brilliant.
Like,
amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really fun. But no, that's the 30s, right?
Yeah. During the Depression. In fact, a lot of the dialogue and story are about the Depression.
Changes happening during the Depression. Yeah. Which was sort of... So, this is interesting. People, especially in art that was uncensored, did a lot of processing in real time of the Depression. In real
time. Yeah.
So a lot of the writing and the film at the time are processing in real time what's happening around them.
Well, specifically, almost every good noir film features a veteran character who's trying to reintegrate into normal society.
A veteran from the First World War trying to reintegrate.
First or second, because they started doing second.
They started doing it later in the noir phase. Yeah, trying to figure out how to be at home again.
And often they'd wind up criminals inadvertently because, like in A Lonely Place, the Humphrey Bogart character in particular.
Oh, yes,
right?
Yes.
Like he can't control his outbursts, his temper, his rage.
Yeah.
It's
uncontrollable rage.
But we also watched 2 short films by I just threw these on there thinking that the kids might like them, by
Laurel and Hardy.
I kept wanting to say Abbott and Costello.
No, Laurel and Hardy.
Laurel and Hardy.
Yes,
including one called the Music Box, which is about them trying to deliver a piano, which I had seen before and I knew it was funny, but watching the kids watch it was hilarious because they were just like, they couldn't breathe. It's just every time you see a gag coming on, it's like, when it hits, it's like more and
they did it
more, and they didn't just do the gag you thought they were going to do, but way beyond what
took it all the way.
Thought.
Just the bounds of possible humor.
And then it was getting too late for us to watch Dragonwyck, but we did put on one more short called County Hospital, and in that one it's like sitting in front of an open window, and if you've watched comedy from that era at all, you're thinking, okay, what's gonna go out the window? And then suddenly 2 of them went out the window. You're like, wow. That escalated quickly. Not only did 2 of them go out the window, but
one of them was the doctor.
No, who's the one that they called fat?
Oh,
I'm sorry, I can't.
There's Stan Laurel was the skinny one.
Yeah.
And Oliver Hardy was the so-called
okay.
fat one.
Right. I can't come up with names anymore from my memory. Like, it just doesn't happen for me, and I'm left. It's just
stricken silent.
I'm left unable to finish whatever I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But yes, suddenly not only are Laurel and this doctor character hanging out the window on a rope, but Hardy is hanging upside down from the ceiling
From the bed because he's
by
in
his
traction.
broken leg.
Yes.
It's just like
right.
it's this. We were saying that this humor will never get old.
Never get old. It's silly.
Yeah, like the piano rolling down the stairs for the 5th time.
Well, what's great, I feel okay with spoilers or something that's 100 years old.
Sure.
Or close to it.
Yeah.
So the piano goes...
32, I think. 1932.
Yeah. So we're it's more than 90 years old.
Yeah.
So this piano slides down an outdoor staircase like... 4 times, like repeatedly.
But it's different every time.
It's different every time. And boom, 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 all the way down back to the street.
But they change it up. Yeah.
And then they eventually carry it, finally get it there, right?
Yeah.
And they get it in the house, and they unbox it. Piano's in perfect shape. Nothing's happened
right.
to the piano. They've dropped this piano off a balcony. It slid down the stairs.
Went into a fish pond.
Yeah. And when they unbox it, all the water comes out. Piano's fine.
It still works.
Plug it in, play a piano. Boom, 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 it just goes. Yeah. It's fine.
Right.
And ultimately, the penultimate scene is when the owner comes home and is like, "Why'd you put this in my house?" And starts chopping it apart.
Takes an axe.
Starts just
smashing the piano to bits.
Which somehow survived.
And then all this, and then his wife comes in and she's like,
"I ordered that piano for your birthday. What's going on?"
It's so dumb.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But it's still funny.
Yeah, still very funny. Oh, my point was that it's made in the 30s. All the sort of stereotypes that were in film are there.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
There was even there weren't a lot of in Footlight Parade there wasn't any acts that featured blackface.
No.
But you did see blackface, a character in blackface in the background in one scene.
Fleeting in the background one scene.
And then in one of the musical acts at the end was it was black and white, but it was yellowface.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
But
it was
Shanghai Lil.
That's in the movie.
Yeah.
And I think it's...
I'm saying to the kids, so how racist do you think this is, actually? And they're like, it's all the racist.
All the racist. All the racist, all the sexist, all the things.
Yeah.
And frankly, is par for the course for any film. If you watch Golden Age films, these are absolute norms.
Right.
And just as a side note, as in all literature as well, I think it's critical to preserve them as they are.
Yes.
I mean, sure, remake it, whatever. But preserve them as they are because they reflect accurately the society from which they came.
Yes.
So don't ever pretend that didn't happen.
Don't pretend it didn't happen. And we're doing that with the kids. We're like, you need to watch this and understand how people thought of it. Because one day you're going to be looking back at the media you loved as a kid and realizing just who it belittles and
what's happening to the media you loved. But also, it's so important for me for you to see the through line.
Yes.
Those tropes are still here, and you see them this way and this way and this way.
Not only that, they go through revivals.
Yeah.
And people defend and justify those revivals.
Yeah. Well, no, and I think you should remake films and remove stuff and add stuff.
Well, no, I mean revivals of the specific forms of bigotry, and then they write a think piece in the Atlantic about how it's fine to be, bigoted towards whatever.
Just whoever. Yeah. Airline fares are up. Are trans people to blame?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. Let's look into it. Come on, man.
So I started to say...
There's the fun stuff.
I started to say... This is a good segue.
Yes, you're going to
And
segue.
what I was going to talk about was not the movies, but it was about invisible disability.
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
how difficult it is to understand. But I wanted you to do an update. Let me inject one brief thing, which is we've come to a turning point in our long national nightmare, a long personal nightmare of trying to figure out our mortgage situation.
Yeah.
So I am earning money again for months, a little money, and I don't have a job per se. I'm working as an independent contractor. I have an LLC, Potts LLC, and I'm billing a company monthly and getting money, but I'm not an employee. I don't have any benefits. I don't have anything. I have to pay, the full FICA tax, so my taxes are going to be huge.
Huge taxes.
But I am able to put some things towards business expenses and write those off. So that's good. But I've only been getting paid a reasonable amount for 2 months. But
yeah,
I've gotten 2 months worth of paychecks that were even remotely close to what I was taking home when I didn't have to pay all those extra things.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
So we're not exactly back on our feet yet. And what I want to mention about the mortgage is that we've been in negotiations since December when we knew that our forbearance period of 11 months was going to run out at the end of February. So in December, we started to try to open up negotiations with Rocket Mortgage, who bought our mortgage in December, about a loan modification, so that we didn't have to spend every bit of our savings to make up for those 11 months in a lump sum.
Yep.
And loan modification was my first preference, but there were other things too, like can we pay over time? Can we break this into double our monthly payments for something? Is there some way we can do this? Pay some partial sums just to allow us to maintain some emergency funds. Because just to reiterate, what has happened is we had to empty our retirement accounts.
Yep.
Our last one. Fund that I started in 1993. So we have no retirement savings anymore. We lived on our retirement savings for over a year, and we trying to negotiate with Rocket Mortgage was like trying to put your head in a vice and squeeze. Every single call, they promised us something. They promised us to get us a form, or told us that we had submitted an application, or told us that we would hear back within 30 days or something. And every single follow-up, whatever the previous person had said, was gone.
It's like,
thrown
I
out
don't
the
see anything
window.
about that. I don't know what you're talking
They
about.
had no record of it. They had no this, that. And literally, I recorded all these calls. And we have transcribed them, actually. And you can see these promises read through these promises being broken one after another.
Yes.
And it's absolutely maddening. And we realized, because we finally got a piece of paper, they had never given us a deadline, right?
No.
And we finally got a piece of paper saying that, in 10 days, we're going to begin we had 3 weeks, I think.
Yes, 3 weeks.
It was we may, at our discretion, demand repayment in full or begin the foreclosure process or all this. Not just of what we owe, the entire remainder of the mortgage. So in other words, pay us $240,000 or you'll lose your home, right?
Your call.
Or start foreclosure, whatever. They would do any of the number of things.
And this, curiously, was the single thing that they sent to us in writing.
The single thing that we actually got in writing after all these discussions.
Right. And that's all that counts.
That's all, or even by email, because I also was working the angle of trying to get them to respond by email. Well, anyway, so at that point we hired an attorney to try to get the attorney to negotiate for us
and get something in writing.
See if we could get something in writing. See if we could arrange whatever. But and she was very tenacious and got people into meetings and got people onto calls and did have these conversations and invited me, said, "Do you want to be in on this conversation?" I said, "Actually, no, I don't think at this point that I can be polite to anyone."
Right.
So, you talk on our behalf.
It's fine.
And let us know if you can come up with anything rational.
They wouldn't give the attorney anything in writing.
They wouldn't give the attorney anything in writing either. And
Yeah.
they were supposedly going to email us these forms.
Yeah.
We never got anything.
Nope.
And then finally I decided we had like 3 days left before this, or we had a week left.
A week, literally like 7 days.
And I insisted on making it a week rather than like the day before because I knew they would try and delay further.
Yeah.
But a week before this legal deadline, where they were then claiming they were going to open whatever, do whatever,
right?
We paid them.
Yes.
And we paid them
a lot of money.
A huge lump sum that represented almost all our savings.
Yep.
And magically, they managed to process this payment with no difficulty whatsoever.
And then all the emails came through that they promised us for months.
The day that they got the payment, I got finally got in the email the electronic application form to fill out for mortgage assistance that I had been told was coming since December.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm going to write a separate blog post or something about this, documenting it, because this was absolutely maddening. And I think people need to be aware of just how
depraved it is.
Depraved, and how little you can trust a mortgage servicing company.
Yeah. Absolute trash, but yeah.
To even do the things that they've promised to do.
Right.
But be that as it may, our stress is a little lower because
it's at least
we're not on the verge of losing our home, and they're about to restart mortgage payments, and the money's in the account to pay the first mortgage payment, the first restarted mortgage payment.
So we're good for the month.
So our mortgage is up to date. When I say the month, I mean May.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're good for May.
Right.
See what happens in June.
Yeah, but yeah, we have no savings, and worst case scenario, the thing we're hoping to avoid is if for some reason this current contract should fall through because of the government shutdown or the various grants that are paying for it being suspended or whatever being shut down, because it is a federally funded project in part,
Mm-hmm.
It's like a public-private partnership thing. Worst case scenario would be that we spend all our savings, have almost no savings left, and then
the contract falls.
Then my income stops.
Because then we have nothing actually.
And I can't even apply for unemployment. So
right, because you're not employed.
Right. So I can't even get that 10% of our normal income.
Sorry, 10%.
Yeah, it's absurdly.
It's
a absurdly small amount that won't even cover mortgage. Okay. The other piece about this is that the other shoe we are still waiting to drop is the day that I got my paycheck for March. I actually wound up getting 2 in 1 month. Mm-hmm. I was expecting to not receive the March invoice until April, and etc.
Yeah. And
the April invoice until May. Well, the company suddenly started paying me more quicker, and so I thought that I was going to earn an amount in March that was low enough that we didn't need to report that I was getting income again to the state, who's paying our Medicaid.
And to be clear, they asked us not to report unless we went over a threshold.
They told us, don't bother to contact us again about your income unless you exceed this limit.
Right.
In a given month.
Right.
And then if you do exceed it, you have until the 10th of the next month to report it.
Right.
So suddenly I had what looked like a lot of money in a given month, although it's hardly it's hardly in real world terms with a large family and a large expenses and a large medical expenses, it's hardly a large amount.
Yeah.
But we did have to report it. So we reported on April 10th. We reported that I was getting income again and I had received this and this amount.
Mm-hmm.
And we're now expecting to hear the kids are trying to
Console somebody.
console Eleanor upstairs as she's freaking out.
About what? I'm not
Do
sure.
we need to?
We probably should pause and just check in and see. Because, like, she should have everything she needs for the day.
Yeah, she was fed, she was watered.
She should be fine. But, like, so we just want to check in.
And she had her iPad to play with. So we'll be. What was I even saying?
You were talking about the
Let
boom.
me finish that point.
Okay.
That we're now waiting to hear if and when they're going to cut off our food benefits and our Medicaid.
Woohoo!
And
Exciting
the food
times.
benefits we can make up for, given that I do have some income now, but we can't make up the medical expenses, and we'll talk about that when we come back.
Sure thing.
Okay, so one of the things we do is once a week we get certain treats for movie night, and one of the treats we get is fizzy water. It's just
It's like LaCroix. It's just...
LaCroix or whatever, like fruit-flavored sugar.
And when we say fruit flavored, it's like the idea of a fruit flavor.
They waved a mango over this can
Oh, the
of,
can of it.
of
Yeah,
soda
not the
water.
vat. The can. It's already in the can. They wave some fruit pot next to it.
Right, so it has a whisper of,
Whisper of
raspberry
peach.
or whatever.
Whisper of raspberry lemon.
But it doesn't have any sugar, which is why we feel like the kids can drink
Just
it.
drink
But
freely.
they've come to look forward to
A fizzy drink
the
every
fizzy
Saturday.
drink every Saturday. Well, apparently Ellie dumped 2 cans of LaCroix out on the kitchen floor, and they were actually the older kids were calmly trying to get her to clean it up, but this was enough to just make her
Absolutely not. This is an
outraged.
outrage. Do you know who I am?
Earlier, she had gotten them out because there were some left. So, general rule for the movie night snacks and whatnot is the next day, if there's anything left over, just use it up.
Use
We
it till
don't
it's gone.
want you guys to fight over it. Say there's some cookies or something left. It's like,
No.
we don't want you guys to fight over it for the whole upcoming week. Just
Please.
finish it off.
Just eat it. Just eat it. Have a good time. It's fine.
So I gave her, she was asking for a fizzy water this morning, and I opened her one and gave it to her to drink, and she seemed happy with that. But then, of course, she loses interest after a while, and then it becomes a plaything.
Well, because it's not sweet.
It's not sweet.
Right.
So then it gets dumped out or knocked over, played with, or whatever. Anyway, that's what was going on.
That was the drama.
And they seemed like as soon as I stopped recording, suddenly she went silent. And I'm like, thanks, Ellie. But,
Hey, she had to say what she had to say.
Yeah, but, okay. Invisible disability. I want to hear an update. We're going to run long, of course, because I had coffee today.
Oh, as if we don't always run long.
But usually I only record when I've had coffee, because then I become hyper-verbal. But I want an update from you about your health, and if you can summarize within a half hour, I guess, everything that's been happening with your personal health journey.
Why would you call it that?
Well,
I'm trying to figure out some polite way to describe this shit show.
a polite way to describe a literal shit show.
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, do you remember where we left off? Yeah. It
was before your surgery, I think.
before both surgeries? Like, had I even gone in for the polyp removal?
I think the polyp removal had happened, but you did not have your catheter.
Oh, right, okay. So...
But, I haven't even finished processing and uploading that one yet, because everything's... Because I'm so far behind on everything.
It's such a mess. Okay, so... I was recommended by a neuro-urologist that specializes in treatment of neurogenic bladders. That's a bladder that no longer works because the nerves that control your bladder are damaged.
Yep.
And I think I went over the whole like self-cath, Foley cath.
Oh yeah,
thing.
Doctors kept trying to push you into doing a self-cath, which we learned would be like 4 times daily. You'd have to catheterize yourself in parts of your body that have no working nerves at all.
Yeah.
And
I can't see them.
And you can't see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that just didn't seem like it was going to work out.
I feel like it doesn't even make sense.
Right. But some people do
Some people
self-cath if they have some kind of a urinary problem. I don't think it's probably not actually indicated in Cauda equina syndrome, because if you have no nerve functioning and you like are poking in the wrong place, you can be scraping up and scratching and injuring yourself, delicate tissues, and not even realize.
Never realize, right? Yeah. Which is, it's been a thing. And, to be fair, there are people with Cauda equina syndrome that self-cath.
Okay.
But understand, there are people with Cauda equina syndrome that fully recover.
Yes,
so
some people do.
There are people on a spectrum of capacity.
Yeah, you posted a case study by I guess she was a nurse.
Spine surgeon.
She was a surgeon. That's right.
Spine surgeon.
She was talking about a case study of one of her patients who came into the ER and was seen and evaluated and operated on so quickly that
she left the hospital with function.
That she was, and she did pretty much fully recover.
Yes.
Which is...
That happens.
That happens, but that doesn't happen after you've been gaslit by your doctor for over a year into thinking that your total numbness is actually just a
sciatica.
Sciatica, right? Yeah.
And to eat less and move more.
Basically, had your it's because you're fat or whatever. It's like because basically having your symptoms downplayed their severity, but any physician should have known that this was a symptom of something very wrong. Very, very serious.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So they had this whole thing about self-cathing, and I just kept saying, actually that doesn't even make sense.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. And the question, actually, no one has answered this question. My question was effectively, why do you think it's important for me to self-cath? Because is self-cathing going to restore nerve function? Is not self-cathing going to prevent the restoration of nerve function? Why do you think this treatment is necessary and beneficial and ideal?
Mm-hmm.
And the only argument that I think is a valid argument, and you could actually go back and forth on, is reduction of the incidence of UTIs. I think you could make an argument.
Not having the catheter bulb in your bladder all day reduces this formation of biofilms and the tendency of your bladder to become full of bacteria.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could make that argument. No one made that argument to me.
Right.
I think that argument doesn't stand on the research, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So after back and forth with several doctors about self-cathing, the final boss doctor, the neurourologist, said, well, if you don't think that... Basically, she said, if you don't think that you can or would do this, really the only other option left to you is a suprapubic catheter placed through, right above your pubic bone directly into your bladder.
Right through your abdominal wall.
Right through your abdominal wall. And this is better than a Foley in your urethra for a multitude of reasons.
One of them being that if you hope to have a functioning urethra in the future and not just be leaking urine all the time, you don't want your urethra to continue to be all stretched out.
It's like wearing a Foley long-term in your urethra, especially in women, can damage your urethra such that it can't heal and function normally again.
The urethra in women is far, far shorter.
Shorter, narrower, and a little more delicate.
And in men it's really long, and well, not that long, but
longer,
yes.
and in a larger diameter hole.
Yeah.
So that's really valid, and I'm like, okay, I'd be happy to preserve the health of my urethra long term, if that's what this means. And this intervention actually, if you stop, it's semi-permanent. Like if you keep using it, the hole doesn't close up. If you pull it out in a few weeks' time, it will be pretty closed. It will be fully closed with just a scar on the skin after a year.
So it's kind of a bit like an earring?
It's like a piercing, yeah. So yes. And so I thought, all right, I guess since I can't pee without a catheter,
yeah.
I think this is the way to go. So he scheduled it. I was shocked.
How fast?
How fast we got it scheduled. And frankly, I didn't really have time to prepare.
Yes.
And so we have the surgery. The surgery goes through fine. The catheter placement is fine. But I have not been well since the afternoon after it was placed.
So you had the surgery done, and you stayed overnight.
Yep.
And they discharged you the next morning. It's usually this kind of. It's not a terribly invasive. I mean, it's invasive.
It's invasive,
but it's not.
It's not like
it's not a terribly high risk surgery. It's a small incision. It's like use a drill or something to go in.
I'm not going to specify, but it's actually done by a radiologist.
And you do it while you're observing via X-ray, via ultrasound, I think probably. Yeah. And so you make sure you're going exactly where you want.
Exactly where you think you're going.
And.
Because you actually don't want to hit your pubic bone.
Yeah, right. And it heals up relatively quickly.
Yes.
Like a piercing. But the
problem was I had some kind of a UTI.
You believe now that you actually had a UTI going in.
Yes.
And because they wouldn't... As a sort of a knock-on effect to the way they don't want to use opiate pain relief now.
Right.
The pain relief they were willing to give you post-surgically being Tylenol and whatnot.
Tylenol, and I could have an optional, what's the one? Oxy. So effectively together there was like a Percocet.
Yeah.
So they would give you Tylenol, and if you were still in some pain and you asked twice, they would give you an oxycodone. Is that what it is?
Yeah, oxycodone.
And that was, so I'm being observed for infection.
Right.
That's the reason they keep you overnight.
But you're being observed for infection at the same time they were giving you pain medication that suppresses fever.
Yes. Right. So I complained of pain. So the surgery happened at 1. I had this terrible pain in my side at around 4. Yeah. And they gave me some Tylenol, and it took the edge off.
Yeah.
And
this was day 1.
This is day 1, the same day.
Yeah.
They performed the surgery. And it was a rough night.
The complaining of the pain in your side, which was not where the incision was.
It was not where the incision was. The incision was fine.
Should have been a red flag.
Should have been a red flag. It was like a little teeny tiny red flag to one of the doctors and said, hey, maybe we should take an ultrasound to just make sure this isn't an infection. Yeah. And that never happened. But it was a rough night without pain meds.
Yeah.
And they kept giving me Tylenol, at the intervals that would allow.
Having just drilled a hole right through your belly.
Right.
They're giving you Tylenol.
Giving us Tylenol. And again, they did give oxycodone if I asked twice between doses of Tylenol.
Okay. But still.
And in the afternoon, when they gave me the first Tylenol, I said, oh, your orders are not in for pain medication. So I'm just waiting for your orders for pain medication. And they were apparently, I don't actually know, I wasn't looking at anything, not there all night. The whole night, we're begging for pain meds. Because I'm in so much pain, I can't sleep. And I'm delirious, I'm trying everything. Is there anything else that could be causing me pain? Do I need a lidocaine patch? Do I need to use the restroom? What could possibly be causing this pain? And finally, the next day, around 8, 9 a.m., they're like, oh, you don't have your pain meds yet? The order's right here. And they bring me pain meds, and then I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling all right. I'm actually feeling all right. And they're like, so do you want to go home today? And actually I really was I want to get the hell out of here.
Right. This is no place for a sick person.
No, nothing I should be doing.
Right.
And so I'm now that I've got pain meds on board, I'm feeling okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, okay, great. Send me home. I get home. I say hi to everyone. I get settled in. I take a nap. I don't take my next dose of Tylenol. And I wake up feverish.
Yeah.
Shaking, chills, really just kind of like not okay. I'm like, wow, I take my temp. It's high.
Yeah, 102 or something.
Like 100. And then...
Not that high, but...
So, yeah, I said not that high, but you know...
It's higher than it should be.
Higher than it should be, and I'm slightly concerned.
You're setting off all the alarms on the handout they tell you.
Like all the hands, that, and that too.
Yeah.
And I wait a little while, take it again, it's gone up. I take it a third time, it's gone up, and I pick up the handout they gave me earlier that day.
Yeah.
Literally 6 hours before. Yeah. And I say, hey, I call them, I say, hey, so I'm having this symptom, and this symptom from the sheet you gave me at discharge.
Right.
And the nurse says, okay, why are you calling me? Because this paper
the instructions that you were given
said to call you if these things happened.
Exactly.
So I am now calling.
This is a recurring theme, by the way.
I'm now calling
literally
you.
Their discharge instructions, when you try to follow them, they're like,
that's weird. Why are you talking to me about this?
Doing this?
Have you talked to your primary care? Like, what?
Yeah.
And actually, the discharge papers explicitly say, for the next 48 hours after discharge, call this number here if these symptoms happened. And she was, like, bewildered.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine why I would be on the phone at this point.
Right.
And so I tell her...
It's so baffling.
She leaves the phone for several minutes and comes back and says, okay, the attending says you should go to the emergency room. So I go.
Great. This was then the first of 4 ER
visits, yes.
Since your suprapubic catheter was
placed.
Put in.
It's a whole situation.
We've had 4 ER visits. The last one was 11 hours long.
Yeah.
And 3 of them were basically overnight, or basically all night.
All night long, right.
Yeah. And the last one was, I think we got there at 4 in the morning or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine time for all of us.
Right. So, and each time, so at no point was there ever any evidence that your incision was infected, was showing signs of infection.
Even at all.
But you've had recurring symptoms of UTI.
Yes. And the last one, I was concerned because drainage had gotten real slow.
That your catheter might be blocked.
Right. And actually, they flushed it at the ER, and it's been flowing more or less normally
after
since.
10 hours.
After 10 hours, they finally flushed it.
The ER was super crowded. We spent 10 hours, 11 hours on a bed in the hall.
In the hallway. Exciting times.
Yeah.
So they flush it, and then it's flowing normally. And I finally, they keep telling me to call my primary care. My primary care is like, I'm not a urologist.
Yeah, these doctors keep your urologists keep telling you to call your primary care physician about UTIs. Like, who knows more about UTIs, a urologist or your primary care physician? Well, of course you should have your primary care doing
in the loop,
coordinating and whatnot. But like, this is all like, these are the people who gave you this surgery.
Exactly. People who placed this catheter.
They ought to know more about
and
bladders
and
UTIs.
My doctor's office actually said, my primary office actually said, now that you have a suprapubic catheter, like any UTI care should be through your urologist.
Right.
Because they will know things that we don't know.
Right.
So that's where you should be getting care.
Absolutely.
And so, finally after all of this, my primary called the urologist and said,
why are you keep referring
her to me when you guys...
Right.
I suspect you know more than me. Do you?
You have this message chain with a nurse in your patient portal.
Yes.
Right, which is just the most
surreal.
I wish you had a
theater
printout of it if you had more.
It's absolute theater of the absurd.
Reading it, it's like Dada. It's like surrealism. It's like Waiting for Godot. It's like, will he come today? I don't know. Let's hang ourselves. We'll get an erection.
Right. It's just nonsense.
Like absolute. Like, why? And you're saying, is this or is this not a urology practice? And they're saying green.
No, at one point they're like, said something so absurd. I was like, am I writing?
Hi.
What I actually said was, am I writing the correct practice? Should I be writing a different urology practice?
Right.
Am I in the wrong place?
Right.
Because you seem to know nothing about me,
Right.
and you seem to think I should be talking to somebody else.
Right.
Like, is this not... Am I not a patient at this practice?
So we're getting concerned after a while because you've been on 2 rounds of of the fosfomycin, and then you've been on another
Round of augmented and a round of cipro.
And the augmented, that's another thing about this, is the augmented, everyone said, oh, this is fine, it doesn't have a lot of side effects. You had terrible side effects from augmented. It knocked you down.
Yeah, all the way to,
I mean, I think that you were extremely fatigued and mentally fuzzy. Around,
yes.
And shouldn't be driving.
Shouldn't be driving.
Anything. But this was for a week.
For a week,
right?
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm trying to figure out,
is this an allergic reaction?
Is this an allergic reaction? Am I safe? What should I be looking for?
Should you be going off this on an urgent basis and getting something else or whatever?
Is this normal? Should I be concerned?
Now, what's funny about that is all the nurses said, oh yeah, that's normal.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
And all the patients you were in touch with are like, oh, that's normal.
Yeah, that's normal.
But the physicians were all like, oh, that's not normal.
That's not normal. Augmented never does anything like that. What are you talking about?
It's not in the this. A description of your symptoms cannot be found in the handout.
In the handout.
In the, what do you call that?
Oh gosh.
Leaflet or whatever.
Yeah, like the drug warning leaflet.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like that in the drug warning leaflet, but all the nurses and patients are like, oh yeah, that's what happens with augmented. And so I'm wondering, do I want to take that again? It's supposed to be a
was that a minor anaphylaxis
or what?
Yeah.
Because day 7, my last day, I did start to develop hives on one arm.
And you're like, okay, so now my symptoms are good enough to get someone to notice,
some treatment,
pay attention.
So,
but at that point, we were just like, no, just stick it out. One more day.
It was the last day. I had 1 pill left.
Yeah.
So whatever, man. We got through that one, but it's just been this series of. And I want to be clear. At no point was I at death's door, or really even close.
But this weird pain kept coming back, which was not near your incision.
Not even close.
And not actually in your lower back, which is what I would expect for your kidneys to be referring pain,
Right.
Right.
But, yeah. No, the doctor that raised it as a little teeny tiny red flag, maybe we should do some imaging and make sure this isn't an infection.
Yeah.
That one doctor, and no one ever came back and followed up on what he said.
Right.
He said that it's a unusual place to see flank pain, but this is the pathway runs right through here from your bladder to your kidneys.
I see.
So if you have an infection traveling up to your kidneys, you might feel it
there.
Right, feel inflammation there.
In fact, you've felt it over and over again.
I felt it over and over again. And of course, I took the first couple of doses of the fosfomycin, and the next morning, I had 1 dose, and the next morning the pain was gone.
It was gone.
Gone. It's not there anymore.
So you had an initial, I think with the antibiotics, you had an initial major wipeout of the bacteria.
Right.
But then
as soon as I finished,
it didn't finish them all.
Yeah, as soon as I finished the dose, I took all my doses on schedule, and about nearly 48 hours immediately after the last dose had worn off, I felt the same pain, but just faint. It wasn't keep me awake pain, but it was that's the pain. It's back. It's just back now. So anyway, it's just I'm supposed to have it switched out in just about 10 days.
Your catheter bulb.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be 6 weeks in about 10 days.
So
in that 4 weeks...
Basically, this was the plan from the first, is you keep the initial one in there for a long time because you don't want to disturb anything while your incision is healing up.
Yes.
And honestly, it looks pretty disturbing because you see exposed muscle and fat in this incision, right?
Yeah.
And it's not it's not super tight in there, so when
And it's not supposed to be, but
you
yeah.
don't want the tissue to bond to the little hose.
Nope.
Right, and start like scabbing over onto the
That's
hose.
actually bad.
So you move it around, and there's a little. You also can have some leakage, like if it's backing up, urine can back up.
Can leak around.
out of your hole.
Stoma.
Stoma. Your new orifice. Yeah.
It's a stoma.
Okay. Surgical stoma, I guess you would call it. So, but you're supposed to. Really, we were not expecting to have to be in the ER 4 times before even your first follow-up.
Follow-up visit, and they begrudgingly after my primary care called them, they begrudgingly because they've got like several locations and several doctors, at a different location set up an appointment to see me.
Yeah, yeah.
And these locations they're separate practices that were merged. Like they merged data, but they're actually separate practices.
Which makes it somewhat convenient because they have all your records on.
They have all the records on file. Like they don't have to do a request or anything. It's the same, right? So they begrudgingly called me the next day to set up an appointment, and the nurse on the phone was like, "So you're supposed to be on the 6th. Do you really want to be seen?" I'm like, "Listen. Do you really want me as a patient? Right. Like, what do you mean?"
Right.
Like, and the thing that, there's several things I feel are being left unsaid, and when I ask the direct question, no one will answer me.
Yeah.
Is this a normal recovery, and I should expect to have multiple UTIs while this settles?
Yeah.
Is this normal?
Right.
Because if this is normal, okay, we'll just manage it as needed.
I want to talk about 3 specific things. Okay.
Oh, sure.
One is these ER visits were unusual enough to flag someone from your insurance to give you a call.
I say,
Can
hey,
you tell us about that?
how's it going? Was that a good experience? Is everything okay?
Right.
That kind of conversation.
Yeah.
So, I think the question, is this normal? Is no.
Yes.
This is not normal. This is not to be expected.
Right.
And the thing that they don't want to address is that I'm pretty sure that they should have tested me for a UTI before they placed it, and then given me because they gave a broad antibiotic.
Right. For surgery. Yeah.
And should have either, or in addition to, provided a UTI-specific antibiotic, so this would not blow up,
settle in,
and settle in with the new catheter. And they failed to do so. And I think that's the thing they're like trying to brush away.
Yeah.
Is that
they've been their neglect in testing for infection goes back to your very first urology visit after your surgery.
And I got to be clear, what I say about testing is actually huge in infection control because it lets you know what's there.
You have to be informed, or you fly in blind.
You'll
likely assume that nothing's wrong.
You'll assume that nothing, because a lot of sort of like sepsis, septicemia,
they grow slowly.
At first. And there's nothing wrong until it's very wrong.
They go exponential.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what seems to have happened. Like it was 3 hours after surgery.
Yeah.
This was nothing I contracted during the surgery.
Right. No, you went in with this, and they should have known.
And they should have known and acted accordingly. And they're sort of like, whatever, man, I don't know. And at this point, they don't want to hear from me. They don't want me to call them unless the bag stops draining.
Right.
I should go directly to the ER with a fever. And if I have blood in the bag. That's like, otherwise there's no conversation they want to have. Because everything else is just normal.
The other thing is that now, finally, you have, they did take, remember the first ER visit, they took blood cultures.
They took blood cultures, yes.
Right, but
to rule out septicemia.
Which is good, they don't have septicemia, but at the most recent one, it took a while to get back. It takes time to grow things, right?
Yeah.
But we finally got your urine culture results from the one.
Yes.
And that was interesting because you have 2 organisms that are unusual, and
they are nosocomial.
which
organisms.
means that she got them in a medical setting.
I picked those up in a medical setting.
Yeah.
Which is something that I'm thinking now, they actually didn't take sterile precautions handling my wound.
No,
Which is fascinating.
Like, all of this, people are so bad at this. It's absolutely horrifying. And then the third thing I wanted to discuss is that all of this could have been headed off, and you could have had a much different experience if they had enough of a clue about the nature of your condition to set you up with spinal rehab 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah. 6 weeks after my initial surgery, I should have been set up with spinal rehab.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were finally, like, willing to do this.
After months.
And realized that, oh, maybe you should have had that. But, of course, no doctor will ever admit that they've done anything wrong because of the liability.
Because of the liability. But although the physician's assistant at my surgeon's office is...
a gem.
She's mortified.
Oh, well, yeah, so she had a human reaction.
Like, just literally mortified.
Yeah.
And actually told me that they decided not to give me spinal rehab at the hospital because I could walk.
So that because she could walk, she didn't have a spinal injury, which is not at all true.
No.
And Cauda-Equina syndrome is
by definition
a spinal cord injury that is like below the threshold of, I mean, typically below the threshold where it's going to keep you from being able to walk.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
There's a significant percentage of people with Cauda-Equina who can no longer walk.
Okay, but there's also, when you talk about walking, there's a spectrum of
walking. How much can you walk? How stable are you?
Can you recruit some alternate muscles to be able to leverage yourself around out of a chair and maybe walk a few feet?
Yes.
Versus, can you walk normally like you used to, or can you not walk at all? Right. But so you, even months ago, even a year ago, you were in this thing of like your ability to walk was failing.
Yes.
And you couldn't convince your doctor that this was
a problem.
He was just like, well, you're fat.
You're fat.
Not being fat.
Yeah. Okay, wow.
You were already unable, and we know now that the reason was because when you did walk, you were trying to recruit muscles that weren't cooperating.
Couldn't actually lift me.
Yeah, anymore. And so, there's that. But so you finally were getting approved for doing some spinal rehab.
Right.
But then the earliest appointment you could get was scheduled for October 2026.
Well, initially they scheduled me for July.
Okay.
And which was actually devastating to think I wouldn't see anybody about, because this thing with my catheter is one out of really about 6 different things that need to be addressed.
Yes. Yeah.
And all of which is addressed in spinal rehab.
Right.
Right? So it's one thing. And I want some help with my bowels in some way, because those don't work either.
Right.
And I'm getting lots of specious instruction from many physicians. And when I say specious, they suggest things that actually don't make any sense.
And you literally can't do. Because they don't seem to understand the consequences of this Cauda-Equina.
They don't understand what's going on. And so, I finally got a referral from the surgeon's office to spinal rehab. I'm not going to be scheduled. They can't be seen until July. And several of my friends got on the case and started looking for bowel doctors in the area.
For you.
For me.
Yeah.
And one of them...
On your behalf.
On my behalf, just are you serious right now? This can't be real. And one of them found a bowel program at the same... at the University of Michigan. At the same hospital system. Mm-hmm. And found a doctor there that specializes in bowel problems. And it's actually the same doctor from the spinal rehab program. Mm. She works in 2 clinics.
Okay.
And so I asked for a referral to her specifically because I couldn't be seen until July. And so they put a referral in. Her office calls me and says, you're scheduled to see her in July. Why are you trying to get scheduled here? And I said, because I can't
see anyone else.
Well, no, because I can't actually wait until July to figure out how to poop.
Right.
Like, it's been months, and that will be 9 months after my surgery. It's already been nearly 6.
And this was a thing that they are tracking in these ER visits. They're trying to figure out if you're about to have like a bowel rupture or something.
Yes.
Right, and so
they're like X-raying
all these scans and X-rays, ultrasounds, and not MRIs as much. You do have one MRI. CAT scans.
The CAT scans, just to make sure.
Just to see, like, are you about to pop because you're in pain? Like, are you about to like have a bowel rupture?
Right.
Which can be fatal.
And they try to rule out a bowel rupture in all these visits because this could be that pain too.
Right, because you can't really feel what's going on.
I can't feel what's going on. I just know it's there. And periodically, I would get to the point where I couldn't hold liquids down.
Right.
Because I was too full.
Right.
And I said, like, it's been almost 6 months of this. At that point, it's been 5 months like this. Yeah. And I don't know that I can wait until July. And basically, this nurse thought that was
fine.
Oh no, she. This is the first person who was like, "Oh, that's actually not okay."
That's not okay.
And she scheduled a virtual visit with this doctor.
Yeah.
And the first visit she ended up having to not have because she scheduled it for the morning after my SBC placement, and she couldn't do an outpatient virtual call with me while I was inpatient somewhere for insurance reasons.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So they rescheduled me for like 2 weeks out from that. And I literally had a 15-minute virtual phone call with her as she was walking to her car.
Okay.
That's
what you've been able to get.
That's what I've been able to get.
The actual care by someone who seems to have some clue as to what's going on for you.
And much like the neurourologist, it was a 15-minute, one-visit thing for her to the treatment for that is just this.
It was actually telling you something useful from her knowledge and understanding of the topic.
Like, oh, you have a neurogenic bowel. We just do this for that.
Rather than like what was happening with your absolutely useless appointments with
gastro, pelvic floor, like everybody and his brother.
Right.
And
so we're not to be too glib, but we're trying to get you a machine to poop.
Woohoo!
So that you can like clean yourself out. Once a day, and not be in pain from having yourself backed up, and also not you did do
a purge,
a one-time. I don't know if it's one time, but you did the purge using the same medication that you use when you're going to get a colonoscopy.
Similar. They use something slightly different because if you don't have a working rectum and those muscles there, things can get stuck.
Okay. Well, something like that. It was very similar. It looked similar.
Yeah.
With a flavor packet.
It was so nice.
To drink this stuff, and literally drinking a gallon jug of this stuff, and over the course of a day, and just give yourself terrible diarrhea until everything all the way up to your brain is cleaned out.
Clean as a whistle. So I know. So for all my haters, I'm not full of shit anymore.
But that. You were like, oh, it felt so good after that.
Good. It was amazing.
But you do have to go through this day of really tedious.
It's a long day, right?
Yes, it's not a good day.
Not a good day. I referred to it as poopmas, though. It's actually
poop
a good day.
mass. Anyway.
It was a good day for me.
But they don't want... You can't do this every weekend.
You can't do this every weekend. You can't do this every day.
And so they're trying to get you this machine that actually will give you sort of a mini enema and flush things out. But you can't just give yourself an enema because you can't control
those muscles
enough to hold it in and let it out.
Right. So the machine has to do that
for you. So the machine has to do that for you. It has to basically dilate your sphincter and still allow stuff to pass through.
Right.
So anyway, there's a machine for that, but you've been trying to get this covered by insurance. And what they said, they would cover supplies for the machine, but not the machine. I'm like, what the fuck? And this is while I just paid almost $40,000 for mortgage payments or something like that, and had down to $2,500 in savings. Right. I'm like, okay, now I got to buy a machine for my wife to poop.
Fantastic. So yeah, great times all around.
Maybe you can crowdsource your poop machine.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
The
I'll run the cam. I'll draw the artwork.
Because we're not taking pictures.
No.
The this is Grace's ass.
No.
Grace's ass doesn't poop. The but no, comically.
Remember those Reader's Digest? I am John Spleen.
I'm John Spleen.
I am Grace's ass.
Grace's ass. So, but no, what was remarkable to me was, as I had grown to suspect, that the care that I needed was actually simple and straightforward.
It exists. It
exists.
This is understood. We know how to...
Yeah, it exists. It's understood. It's simple and straightforward. Right?
Yeah.
And so, basically, for both a neurogenic bladder and a neurogenic bowel, it's one visit and 10 to 15 minutes of a provider's time to set you up with what you need going forward.
Right.
And then basically be available to troubleshoot.
Right.
That was it. That's all.
And meanwhile, I was trying to figure out, can we afford to and arrange to have the tub in the upstairs bathroom torn out so we can put in a, what do they call that?
Like those colonics.
A colonic, like a table?
They rinse
with all the hoses and everything.
We're brainstorming and
a special plumbing system so that you could do this yourself. But I'm not sure that's going to work because this issue of being able to
have muscle control. So
you could fill yourself up with water, but then you'd just be full of water. Right?
So will it work? Is it safe? Is
right,
it like...
Right. And we're trying to troubleshoot and figure out... And also, I don't have the best balance and ability to climb onto things.
And one of my legs is not fully functional.
Can we put in a table that's solid and secure enough that you can get onto it and not fall?
Not fall?
Right. And we're trying to figure out this out ourselves. It turns out there's a simple solution. This is a
medicine solved the problem
understood problem.
It's understood. There's a solution. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
And honestly, these are the solutions that I should have been offered at my 6-week visit with surgery.
Yes. Right. So
they're spine surgeons. They do nothing else.
Right.
All they see are people with spinal cord injuries.
People with spinal cord injuries. So this is so maddening.
But
anyway, I want to bring this because we have only a couple minutes left. So I want to try to bring this together with something.
Okay, right on.
But this is most of what you have is the catheter is visible now, but the ability to walk and all these other things makes this somewhat of an invisible disability.
It's right. You wouldn't necessarily know.
It's not clear to people who see you walk that you can't walk very far. Mm-hmm. It's not people who see you drive that driving puts you in extreme pain if you don't have the right cushioning on the seat and things like that.
Right.
And it's not clear to anyone why you have so much pain from your gut and from these bladder infections. And also you were talking about the neuropathy because of these damaged nerves that are apparently still firing.
Oh, yeah.
And you still have pain all the time from these damaged nerves, these neuropathies. These neuropathies are a lot like the neuropathy that I have from long COVID that I developed in 2020 and got worse in 2022.
Yeah.
And, with purple feet and my hands and feet tingling and burning and all this. Now, I don't think it's nearly as severe because I never felt like I needed something like a lidocaine patch or taking pain relief for this in particular. But it's always there. But that's another Now I want to read a little summary of a study here, and I have 2 minutes. Okay, a subgroup of patients infected with SARS-CoV-2 remain symptomatic over 3 months after infection. A distinctive symptom of patients with long COVID is post-exertional malaise, which is associated with a worsening of fatigue and pain-related symptoms after acute mental or physical exercise. But its underlying pathophysiology is unclear. With this longitudinal case study, we provide new insights into the pathophysiology of PEM and patients with long COVID. We show that skeletal muscle structure is associated with lower exercise capacity, Local and systemic metabolic disturbances, severe exercise-induced myopathy, and tissue infiltration of amyloid-containing deposits in skeletal muscles of patients with long COVID worsen after induction of post-exertional malaise. So they had patients volunteering who can't exercise,
Right.
who were agreeing to exercise in order to in order to contribute to this study.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to change up the recorder or something and come back because I have more to say. We actually filled the
Fill
card.
the recorder. Yeah,
But,
sounds like us.
so let's keep going in a few minutes. Hang on. Okay, so what I had to do is upload the data from my recorder. I don't use SD cards because they are unreliable, and I have sometimes lost whole recording sessions due to a card failure.
Right.
So if I were using SD cards, I could just swap out a card and keep going. But I'm relying on the internal memory only, which is rather limited. So I promise you I'm going to try to make sense of all this into some kind of a coherent
single piece?
Single piece. I probably will fail at it, but here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to... I'm not saying I'm trying to bring the Charlie Stross novels into this.
No.
But as far as this concept of invisible disability and... but you were talking while I was transferring files, you were talking about your neuropathy and how it's actually... It was improving for a while, was steady state for a while, and now it seems like it's actually worsening. And you want to say anything about that? The metaphor of the heating pad versus the open wound.
Burning open wound. Yeah. Okay. So I went into surgery because of I had urinary retention. I couldn't pass any urine, and they did all the things. I had this compression on my spine. And my symptoms that I was experiencing were really crippling back pain. And then also pain in my, neuropathic, sciatica pain, tight pain, but everywhere in my legs, on my left leg.
Yeah.
And I could not feel my right thigh at all.
Which is, so, yes, it's gotten far worse.
It's been far worse. That's when I went into the surgery. When I came out of surgery, my back pain, let's say it was 100, when it was crippling back pain, it was down to 5. It was 5% of what I went into surgery with.
Which is great.
Which was amazing. And the neuropathic pain that I'd been experiencing, and during the night at the emergency room for my first visit back in October, it felt like I had an open burning wound on my left leg. That's the kind of the neuropathic pain. It's different than other things that you've experienced.
Yeah.
I was convinced I had some kind of a bed sore or some kind of open wound that was scraping on everything constantly.
Because that's how painful it was.
That's how painful it was, and that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But if you touched my skin or look at it, nothing was there.
Yeah.
And so there's the neuropathic pain, this burning, and then numbness, but maybe you feel some burning at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
how I would describe my feet and hands.
Yeah, I can't quite feel anything, but it's burning somehow.
Yeah.
All these conflicting experiences. After surgery, that pain went from 100 to 30%.
Yeah.
I could feel parts of... So one of my thighs I could not feel all. I could feel parts of it again. And that burning pain and the pain sort of in my backside all went down to the feeling like I was on a heating pad. It felt warm, but not quite like that.
I may be wrong, but I would expect or imagine that if your nerves do heal to some extent over the long term from this surgery, that they might kind of recover in reverse order, right? In other words, the injuries, the damage to the nerves that produces the most recent loss of sensation or addition of neuropathy or whatnot, you might expect to see those go backwards.
Go backwards.
Because
maybe.
they're like closest to, they were sort of damaged the shortest amount of time, or compromised the shortest amount of time. I don't know for sure, but that would make sense to me.
And so after surgery, I got, basically, by about December, my back pain was at 0 from before surgery. And that has held steady. Back pain got down to 0 or 1 maybe from 100. And that's held. I have, since my 6-week appointment, been testing heavier weights to pick up. And the limit is 11 pounds right now. Like, and I can guess that it's more than 11 pounds, or right around 11 pounds, because it will start to hurt my back.
Yeah.
10.5 doesn't hurt my back. 10 pounds doesn't hurt my back. Oh. But if I hit that somehow, that weight limit is what my back can tolerate right now.
Well, be careful, because we don't want you to
exactly. So I'm actually really careful about that, and will kind of like test just to see if it's close.
Yeah.
And I'm not lifting things more than 10 pounds.
Okay.
For that reason. So with that kind of care, my back pain is down to 0 and has stayed close to that basically since December.
That's good.
It's great.
Yeah.
Because when I say it was crippling, like it was hard to get up.
Yeah.
Like to stand up. I couldn't fully stand.
Yeah.
But then, so that's gone. It doesn't seem to be coming back. The neuropathy was at 30% after surgery. Around December, got down to, like, say Christmas, got down to like 25% of what it was. But it's just basically back up to 30% these days. I'm not sure
if that's a positive sign
or a negative sign. Or even a sign at all.
Now,
you
you've been monitored and scanned so frequently that we're pretty sure that it's not like a worsening of a disc problem.
Right.
Or it's like your spine still looks okay.
Spine looks good.
So it's not that. It's not that you've like re-injured yourself in the way that you did initially.
No. But it looks like this is just nerve damage, and these nerves aren't functioning properly. And so I'm somewhere between. It's never better than like feeling like I'm on a heating pad. But it moves from like feeling like I'm a heating pad to maybe I just sat on hot coals. I just sat on the stove. Yeah. I just brushed up against, a hot pan or something. So not that sort of like intense, like someone's holding, hot poker on you. Right. But just like, whoa, what just happened? And then there's always like
nearly burned yourself badly.
Yeah, like I almost burned myself really badly. Yeah. And that's just kind of unnerving.
So to speak.
Yeah. And then don't forget I also have like these lightning storms, like just a bunch of electric shocks that make no sense.
That's
everywhere you go.
I actually know what that's like because of my post shingles nerve pain.
Yeah.
And also from carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah, just awful.
Yeah.
Like everything's fine, and then suddenly it's like you're under fire.
Stabbing pains.
Yeah. So it's a wild ride, and most of the time, like what is it on the sort of typical pain scale that people have from 0 to 10? Most of the time it's about a 4 or 5, which is like I could focus my attention somewhere else, and it's tolerable, right? And frankly, if I use a lidocaine patch, I can get it down to about a 2, and which is really, that's okay. But without the patch,
bearable enough that you can do other things.
It's better. I can do other things, right. But it's always there. It's just always there.
Yeah. Well, that's. I'm really grateful because my tinnitus, that was one of my worst and most, like, how bad, like, what symptom will drive you to suicide, right? I would say that my tinnitus was the one that was the most maddening and the most likely to push me towards something like that. Not that I ever planned that,
But yeah, really just like you couldn't shake it.
I'm really grateful. The neuropathy I could live with, but I'm really grateful that my tinnitus has receded. And so I do think these things
Easily.
it's still there. And when I get very fatigued, like it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time it's not anywhere near the level it was a year ago.
Right.
And so I'm grateful for that. I hope that you'll have some recovery of the nerves that along similar lines.
If I can get to where I'm sitting on a heating pad all the time and stay there, or better, I would consider that a win.
Right.
That would be a win.
But these things are. Well, I've also recovered enough that I can drive most of the time.
Oh yeah.
And I still don't like driving at night, especially in rain, just because my issues with my vision and visual processing have become very confused as to what I'm seeing, the reflections versus the road signs and lights and all that.
Oh yeah.
And I can't, and I'm subject to enough fatigue that I only want to drive when I'm well rested during the day, but I am driving, so I do see the potential for some restoration of these things. But yeah, these are invisible disabilities, and people can't see what's causing your pain or your disability.
Right.
I was quoting this muscle abnormality piece from Nature about PEM.
Yeah.
And yesterday I had, the day before yesterday, I did probably more than I should have.
It's a long work day.
I had a long work week. I worked 40 hours, which I'm not normally, but I was trying to push through and solve some problems, so I put extra hours in. And then I did things like, we were outside. I went with you to run some errands. Not that I really did much, but like I got out of the car, I walked around a little bit, yeah. And then, and because what's fatiguing is not just physical but mental. Like even holding a conversation can wipe you out, right?
Right.
But I also yesterday when we got home, we had been talking about cutting down this. What is the plant? Honeysuckle tree that's growing in our. It's not really a tree, but it looks like a tree.
Looks like a tree.
Vine, shrub, whatever, that's growing in our yard. And I'm like, oh, you were talking about trying to get the little electric chainsaw working again. And I'm like, I bet I could just cut that with the loppers.
Some bypass printers, right.
And so I tried. I did.
You did?
But it's quite...
It was a workout.
It was a workout. It's very difficult to cut through. It's like this green, slippery, flexible wood that is hard to cut through. So it's all twisting and tearing and yanking and whatnot, but I did get all the little trunks cut off. Now we have to remember to cut them down as soon as it grows shows any signs of life, or to cut that off too. And do that.
Those will be easier, but yes.
Do that often enough that the thing is, until it's really killed.
Really gets rid of the root system, because it's got a nice, fat, deep taproot.
Yeah.
Full of energy and resources.
So, yes, I did that, and that tired me out.
Yeah.
And then all day Saturday, doing something as simple as changing our sheets was physically beyond me. Mm-hmm. And that sounds so pathetic, but I mean, like trying to lift the corners of the mattress to put the sheet, the mattress pad around, to tuck the sheets and all that. It was all I could do to try and get the bed recentered on the little feet,
Right.
And
that's like lifting. I can't even.
You can't contemplate it, but I was able to do that. But then even just yesterday, even just standing for more than about 30 seconds, the room would be spinning, and it's like, well, you should go to a doctor or whatever. Well, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't work that way.
Been there.
Did you know I'm fat? So there's another study.
Yeah, I'm fat. It's my taproot.
That's right. Another study in Lancet that people are quoting and discussing now on what's left of the wreckage of Twitter, a few survivors huddling in the ruins. Taking tissue samples from 225 patients who had recovered from mild COVID, found SARS-CoV-2 viral RNA was distributed across 10 distinct solid tissues, plasma, and blood cells. Right. There's other recent studies. I don't know what the most recent is, but I keep seeing studies. They are putting the pieces together, right?
Slowly.
And what they are finding, and I'm telling you as a fact, although the evidence is maybe not quite solid enough to say it as with absolute certainty, but I'm saying it is a fact, and I've said this before. No one has ever cleared COVID-19 from their bodies.
Yes.
Ever.
That hasn't happened.
Even I'll put a possible caveat for the alpha strain, that maybe after the alpha strain people did have enough of an immune reaction to completely clear it. I really don't think so, but certainly from Delta on, it was hopeless.
Is that a thing?
And this is a thing, that we are observing T cell activation up to 2 to 5 years after SARS-CoV-2 infection, especially in areas of the body such as the gut. Tissue viral persistence could be associated with long-term immunological perturbations. Another study, SARS-CoV-2 fragments might drive inflammation by mimicking the action of specific immune molecules in the body. So,
and I would agree. Just to be clear, that's my reading of the research.
No one's cleared it.
No
one is clearing it.
No, that's not happening. I think people, it's counterintuitive, but if your immune system is given up, you are less symptomatic.
Yes, because you don't have the immune effects.
Because when you were sick and you know you're sick, that's because you're having an immune response. Those are all the symptoms are immune responses.
Resulting in direct host cell changes, immune activation, latent virus reactivation, or combinations of all three. So not only does it reactivate the old COVID in your body, but it may wake up your EBV or your herpes viruses or whatever it is that you have that your body's been keeping under control for sometimes decades. And we are learning now, unfortunately, far later than we should have, that these reactivated viral infections cause a lot of chronic illness.
A lot of chronic illness.
Yeah.
A lot.
So it spares no one. It causes this PEM and muscle abnormalities, and it's measurable and real in the body. And the other thing is that they're not saying is they can't find anyone for a control group now.
Boop.
Because everyone's been infected. An awful lot of people. I want to just make clear also that when they're studying these tissues, they're not just finding spike protein. These aren't leftover spike protein from your vaccinations.
No.
They're finding nucleocapsid proteins from the virus. They're finding fragments from the virus and different generations of the virus.
Yes.
So
it's not good.
It's not good. And this is why I say till I'm hoarse online or in person that the most important thing that we can do is to avoid getting reinfected. We all are like AIDS patients 10 years out.
Yes.
From
diagnosis for whatever it is.
AIDS usually takes 5 to 15 years before it transitions from HIV infection to full-blown AIDS.
Yes.
The oldest, we are some of the actually oldest. I don't mean our age. I mean how long since we were infected. Believe that we're infected actually in January of 2020, and which makes us some of the longest-lived survivors of SARS-CoV-2 in the world. Right. Well, not outside China, but like
No.
not in China, but in the U.S.
Right, in the U.S., yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's, we have no confirmation of our 2020 January 2020 infection.
No proof.
No proof of that. But it was weird in just the way that I was like, huh. Like, it seemed like a cold or a common childhood virus, but
The
it was
physical
strange.
effects were very
It's
strange.
very strange.
And then I was,
you
a few
had-
months was going to the doctor with these symptoms that we now know to be common long COVID symptoms.
Yes. So
Right.
that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to add the caveat that we have no proof of that, but it matches the description.
Right.
And I just say that because there were so many people who in March, when things locked down, said, "Oh, I've already had it. I had it like in October. I was."
A lot of people. Well,
And maybe they did. I don't
think
know.
a number of people did, especially if you were near a population center that got a lot of air travel and
Yes.
where we weren't at the time. There
Doing any
weren't
screening.
rat tests. There weren't,
Yeah.
we didn't even have a proper, early on, we didn't even have a molecular test.
Yes.
yet,
It's Wild West behavior.
Right.
So they really may have, but it was the sort of denialist thing that people would say early in 2020. It's like, oh, I had that.
Because, well, it went along with this belief that once you've had a virus, you're fine. You're safe.
You're
from
fine,
it.
and you can't catch it again, so there's nothing for me to be
Right.
concerned about. And I don't mean to say that.
Right.
I mean to say that in retrospect, that's likely what happened.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And so even an awful lot of the people who don't think they've ever had it, because they never had noticeable symptoms that they recognized,
they may have had it.
there's a good chance, because it's still very often now in 2026 manifests as either, to quote mild unquotes, acute symptoms, or very close to no symptoms, or symptoms that you might not even recognize, or can't distinguish from seasonal allergies or
Right.
whatever. But yeah, the damage the virus does is, compared to what it does in the rest of the body, the effects on the respiratory system, which killed people, right, are practically negligible.
Negligible. That's not a thing anymore.
Just as far as the sheer volume
And-
of tissue damaged and destroyed.
So many people describe that as being more mild, but it's actually more pernicious. It's counterintuitive, but it's more pernicious.
Yeah, right. Right.
So now it can spread freely and do organ damage and kill you with colon cancer, and without your knowledge. You don't realize you have colon cancer until it's stage 4.
Reactivation of cancers and triggering cancers and preventing your immune system from being able to take on cancer cells when they form, which is happening all the time in the body. Right.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
But I mean, in normal, healthy people, they'll have a small, cancer starting to get established, and their immune system will wipe it out.
Take care of it.
Before they notice.
Yes.
So, this is
Now it metastasized before you noticed, but go on.
This is, So, this is part of what I'm getting at, talking about invisible disability, is we all now have invisible disabilities.
And vulnerabilities that we don't fully grasp.
And if they haven't manifested yet, you're fortunate. But one, we have the entire medical establishment basically gaslighting us.
Yes.
And not just the political establishment.
No.
And very few people talking honestly about what the studies are saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is the situation we're in. I want you to, since I wasn't there, I want you to describe an interaction between one of our children and a radiological nurse.
Oh, that.
Because I heard it from Josh. I haven't heard it from you. But I texted you and said, I hope you're writing. We should write a letter. And you're saying, I'm already writing a letter.
I'm in the middle of writing it right now.
Because this is just
It was outrageous.
emblematic of everything. It's outrageous, and it's what we're all facing.
It's what we're all facing all the time, every day.
So, yeah.
So, kids have moved over to our new primary, and 2 of the children have been talking about joint pain and back pain for a bit. And it was all the Tylenol. It's not that debilitating, but it's incredibly annoying.
And it's worrying in such a young kid.
And both of them, such young people. So they went to the doctor. She ordered X-rays. She wants to rule out scoliosis and any other problems that might be on deck, and then treat accordingly for whatever's revealed. So she ordered X-rays. I asked her to send them to St. Joe's, where we always go. It's close by, and we typically don't have any problems.
Right.
So we go, we get checked in, it's a whole thing, we're all set, we're waiting, they call us back. And I'm going to give you blow by blow because in retrospect, like, I should have had my spidey, senses on.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing she does wrong is she walks out and she calls Ben.
How did she get Ben?
His name is Benjamin.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I thought we were talking about Josh.
No. So it was two of our kids.
Yes.
One of them named Benjamin. And so they're both waiting to go back for X-rays. And the nurse walks out and calls Ben. No last name. And
He probably didn't even respond.
No, he didn't respond. I barely responded. She called it a second time and I was like, hey, wait a minute. Do you mean Benjamin?
Right.
Are you referring to Benjamin Potts?
Right.
And she says, oh, no. And she says, no. And I said, okay. So we just sat there. And then she goes back in and she says, oh, are these, like, she called back, are these the two siblings? And I'm like, bro, you're talking about us.
Yes.
There's, like, what else?
Yes.
And then she comes back and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it is you guys.
Yes.
Calls us back. We go back there. There's a changing room so they can put on, like, a gown. It's like fasteners and things don't get picked up on the X-ray. Right?
Yeah.
So they go back to the changing room. They're supposed to change. And our sweet Bilby always gets distracted. So it's taking him forever to change.
Because he's playing around in the changing room.
He's playing around. He's checking out the strings. He's doing things.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to be in the room with them.
Okay.
And we had this back and forth where they said, well, you can't actually be in the room while we're taking the X-ray. You could wait back here. I said, I have a spinal cord injury. I would just like to sit in that chair, and I'll come over here. And like, oh, you can't sit in that chair. It's in the room. We go back and forth several times. And finally, this one nurse with the long hair says to me, listen, why don't you just wait here in the ladies' room? It's right across the hall. If one of them needs you, they can come right out and get you. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'll be right close by if they need something. They won't have to go in the waiting room in a dressing gown. And, because we were going back and forth, and they didn't seem to comprehend that what I was saying was, I can sit there when the X-ray's not on, and then I can move here when the X-ray's on.
Right.
And that I need to sit because I can't stand for 10 minutes.
Very long, yeah.
Right? And we weren't...
I mean, you know what? At that point, I might have just said, you know what? I need a wheelchair.
I need a wheelchair. Just bring a wheelchair in. In retrospect, I feel like I should have fought them more.
Because then your disability is more visible.
Is more visible, right?
But they've seen you standing and they won't believe you.
They don't believe me. They haven't, the catheter's obvious, but it's not prominent.
Right.
So yeah, anyway. And it was a ridiculous exchange. And they seemed kind of clueless. And I was like, you know what? They're clueless. What could happen? So I go across the hall and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. And I'm waiting a long time and finally I'm like, you know what? I know Bilby takes forever, but they've got to be done. And so at that moment, I'm starting to get up because they've got to be done. I'm going to go look. My phone rings. It's Josh. They're in the lobby of the waiting room. They had to borrow someone's phone to call me and find out where I was. Because apparently they didn't say anything to them about the conversation we had about how I was right across the hall.
Where you were going to be.
They just said, you're done, you can go back to the lobby now, and that was that. And it was the same woman, the same nurse, who sat me across the hall and said, I'll get you as soon as they're done.
Right.
And said, if they need you, I'll tell them where you are. They did the x-rays and sent them right out back to the lobby. Now, they're not 5. These children are,
sure.
They're not going to get lost in the street.
Sure, but they shouldn't have to borrow a stranger's phone to find you a couple rooms away.
I was, and really, they said, you're right here. I was 6 feet away. There was just a door between us.
Right.
So, anyway, all that said, so I'm kind of irritated about that because that seems like a ridiculous kind of mix-up or mishap. And Bilby's only 12.
Right.
There's a lot of situations I don't want him in on his own. So I'm already mad. We get in the car and Josh is like, so, Bilby, did you have a conversation about taking your mask off with the nurse? And he was like, no. Like, they got into a back and forth with Josh about taking his mask off. Take your mask off. He said, no. They said, are you sick? Sure. You know, and...
basically, he's like, I don't want to argue about this.
I'm not going to argue about this. I'm not taking my mask off.
Yeah.
I said, but you need to take your mask off for the x-ray. And he's like, why?
No,
just take the mask off.
No, I don't.
And he's like, no, I'm not taking the mask off.
You're x-raying my spine.
You're x-raying my back. You don't even this off my... You know. And finally the nurse says, oh, does your mom want you to keep it on? And he's like...
What he told me is your mom forced you to...
Does your mom force you to wear the mask?
Yeah.
He's like, no. And he said, okay, I guess we'll keep it on. So he kept his mask on.
Yeah.
He didn't let them bully them into taking his mask off.
Good.
Which is kind of the point of everything I do.
Yeah, right.
Is like, that if I'm not there, they won't be bullied into something they know isn't what they ought to do.
Right.
And like he asked a couple times, do I need to? Why does this need to come off?
Right.
And they would not answer that question.
Because it didn't.
Because it didn't need to come off.
Yeah.
I think they have some, like, I think in their heads, from their perspective, they don't want it on his face when they're checking the top of his spine because it might interfere with the image.
You might
If there was metal.
possibly see the metal nose piece, but it's going to be all the way through the other side of his skull, right?
But knowing they were going in for imaging, they both had masks without metal nose pieces for that reason.
Oh, I didn't realize you had done that. Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe they had staples.
Nope. These are the Zimmy metal-free masks.
You had a Zimmy. Okay.
They were both wearing Zimmy masks, which are found in an MRI.
All right.
There's no metal in them. So, there was no reason to take it off. They wouldn't explain why they wanted it off, but got into this nasty kind of bitchy, oh, your mommy makes you, kind of bullying.
It's hard to overstate how unprofessional
How
that is.
very unprofessional it was.
Yeah.
And I was doubly horrified because I've consistently had good experiences at St. Joe's.
Right.
And in fact...
They're usually very flexible.
Usually very flexible, no one's been a dick about it. This is the first time anyone's been a dick about it.
Right.
And
I should say, every time when you say they're not being a dick, they at various ERs they often will ask, "Oh, do you want me to put a mask on?"
Yes.
And if you say yes, they'll put a mask halfway on without adjusting the nose piece or whatnot.
Yeah,
for a minute or two, and then they'll leave the room, and then they'll come back 2 minutes later with the mask on their chin or around their neck or gone entirely.
Right.
Right, and they'll magically forget that you ever wanted people to be masked around you. So every one of so we had 4, but then there was, of course, the previous one. So we've got to have 5 ER visits in the last few months.
Yes.
In which we spent many hours in the ER with masks on, hoping that our luck would hold and we would not bring COVID back to our family yet again. You know.
Yes.
Right.
We haven't tested positive.
No. So we've not had any clear symptoms and not had a positive test. So I'm very grateful for that. But
my God.
And
in these last 6 months, I've seen exactly one physician doing his job wearing an N95.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
That was in the ER. And that's at St. Joe's. There was one who came through and he had on a KN95. It's unclear if he was wearing it because I had, there was a note on my chart, or if he was just doing his rounds in a KN95. Right. But this guy was just seeing patients in the ER wearing an N95 head strap mask.
Yeah, I liked that guy.
Yeah. I like that guy too. So anywho, this was... So I was
trying to do no harm. Go figure.
Shocking, I know. So this was doubly surprising. This is a place where typically it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah.
And as soon as I wasn't in the room, it was a problem.
Right.
But we did not have the same experience as Josh. I think because they were x-raying his legs, not his back.
Okay.
As far as we can tell, that's why. But actually, I think the big difference is that Joshua is nearly 18, and these were very young adults.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they felt like peers, and so they could bully him because he was a peer.
Right.
Whereas, like,
rather than someone who's obviously still a child.
Obviously still a child,
Yeah.
who obviously would normally have his mom in the room. It felt weird to bully a little kid.
Right.
So I think that's actually the difference, more than like the location, because it's if you and you know, I have made other professional complaints about them. They were just unprofessional. They lost some of the equipment they needed to use to run the X-ray, and had to go find it in the room.
Great.
So I'm just saying, it was a very unprofessional experience, particularly so around their like response to masking and the kind of like bullying approach they took to masking.
Yeah.
So yes, I was not impressed, but that does seem to be the state of medicine most places.
Yep. And the other aspect of that you and I see, because we're old enough to have had a lot of medical care in the past, before the last few years, is that everyone seems impaired.
Oh,
it's like they're all drunk, and I don't mean smell alcohol on their breath.
No.
But it's like they can't remember thing to thing, moment to moment. They don't remember what you've just told them.
They contradict themselves in the same conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I started noticing this actually a lot at my job, which was remote, where I was only really talking to people in meetings, right? And I'd usually be taking notes during meetings, and then at some point after people were out sick, they'd be back, and a few months later, we'd be having meetings. And their cognitive deficits, their new cognitive deficits became evident. And I would make notes, and I'd be like, over the course of the meeting, this guy, several people were showing signs of severe cognitive deficits. By the way, after the big all-hands meeting that I said that I would not travel for.
Right.
And several people got sick afterwards.
Of course.
And they would start during a 30-minute status meeting, they'd wind up repeating the same items, sometimes 3 times. And I would make a note of this and write it down, and realize that because I was concerned,
Right,
it was like realizing that people are just not there anymore. A lot of people are not quite there mentally. They don't have the acuity. They don't remember what they were saying. They don't remember. They would ask me about the same question 2-3 times in a half-hour meeting, and I'd explain it, and they'd say, "Okay," and then forget that I had explained it. Like,
hey, one more time.
People are off, and it's not just distraction from whatever is going off.
And the specific thing is, several physicians assistants, and people that I've been engaged with over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
I will notice mid-conversation that they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right. But they're on autopilot.
They're on autopilot. They have no idea what I'm talking about. They're on autopilot, so they don't even know that they don't know what I'm talking about.
It's escaped their mind that they're not really listening.
Exactly. And I'm mid-conversation, I'm like, I just stop and I kind of watch them, and they say, I'm like, I haven't said anything.
We're familiar with this behavior, having children with ADHD.
Exactly. Like, you're talking, and like, oh, they're gone. They're not here right now.
Yes.
And you just kind of wait for them to come back, and then you're like, you're not going to make it back, are you? Oh, wow, okay.
And, of course, we're also seeing this on the road, too, with people so many people now driving fairly randomly.
Just random driving.
Random maneuvers that show a very high lack of situational awareness.
Yes.
Which, there have always been asshole drivers and aggressive
drivers.
Oh,
yeah, no, I don't mean that. This is just
ordinary drivers who clearly don't even know that they're in the wrong lane.
They're in the wrong lane. They're in 2 lanes.
They're in 2 lanes, or they're about to cut into your lane, or whatever they're going to do.
Absurd, bizarre.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an experience. I talked to customer relations, patient relations. I sent a letter. I don't know what will happen. I had this thing when we were having kids all the time.
Right, yes.
Like after every delivery,
Yes.
I would send them a letter and I'd say...
very articulate letter.
and outline the latest research in birth and labor and recovery.
And talk about things they were doing that were suboptimal.
Suboptimal. And give them some feedback. And then 2 years later, I'd come back and they had fixed everything on the list. But they had new problems now. So
that was remarkable, though.
It was really remarkable.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a lot of feedback from them.
You have no idea that this was.
Yeah, I have no idea that these things were right.
I mean, you got to imagine that more than one person might have said something.
Precisely.
But you don't know that for sure.
I have no idea.
You might have been the only person that called them out on a given thing, and someone was like, "Oh yeah, she's right."
Yeah, that actually is evidence-based.
Responded.
And never responded to me
because that's not part of the process, right? But maybe you were responsible.
Hard to know, hard to say. I maintain that I'm responsible for bringing froze back to black women in the 90s. That I'm holding on to that. Me personally.
Yes, it could be.
So, like none of the kids in the black fraternities hung out with me. And they had their fly, really attractive 90s hairstyles. And, I got fed up and I just shaved everything off and I wore a tiny little fro 1 year. And then the next fall, I wore it all year, and they sneered at me all year. And then the next fall, every one of those bitches came back with afros. Every one of them. And they did as long as I was there.
Yeah.
And it was like a little, sub thing that started happening. Because once the black women in the Greek system are doing it,
yeah,
they're all doing it.
Right.
So I'm just saying, I saw that happen in real time.
Well, when you see them all carrying around catheters, then you know.
See, I don't know how it is.
True influencer. All right.
Yeah. So anyway.
Thank you for the update. I think we're
probably gonna end up there. And yeah, we'll see. I might never hear anything back from St. Joe's, but damn, what a bitch.
Not even trying to get at one specific person fired, but it's just
I don't even want her fired.
It's startling that someone would behave that unprofessionally.
And it's just that brazen.
Yeah.
Kind of like, really? Wow.
All right, so play us out. American International, your mark of quantity.
The incredible legends of the abominable Doctor Phibes began a few short years ago. All of them, unfortunately, true. It was here in London's fashionable Maldine Square whence Phibes ventured out to work his diabolical revenge against those responsible for the death of his beloved wife, Victoria, and the destruction of his own face, making it necessary to talk through an ingenious mechanism in his neck.
My wife existed only 6 minutes on the operating table. You murdered her. When the acid reaches him, he will have a face like mine.
Brilliant minds of Scotland Yard were baffled as the amazing murders continued, each more fiendish than the last. And in his soundproof basement of his mansion, none could hear his flamboyant songs of triumph and revenge, played on his organ and by his ingenious clockwork musicians.
We have got to find Phibes.
Only by a stroke of amazing luck did the police seek out Maldine Square. But the fiendish Dr. Phibes was prepared for such an emergency, and building his face anew, he entered the crypt where he had enshrined his beloved wife, incredibly maintained, neither alive nor completely dead. And there Phibes placed himself in suspended life, like her, until it would be time for Phibes to rise again. disappeared off the face of the earth. Phibes lay in darkness 3 years, until the moon, coming into proper conjunction with the eternal planets, shone upon the golden moon of the crypt,
When the stars come
pulsing
alright.
with a fantastic life of its own.
Amazing murders.
Amazing.
Lifeblood then flowed back into Phibes. Great wheels and motors sprung into motion, and Dr. Phibes once more walked upon the earth.
Vincent Price, Robert Quarry in Dr. Phibes Rises Again. Okay, and then he found AI and began Phibe coding.
Oh my God.
Goodbye.
This whole thing. This whole.
Goodbye, everyone.
Could call this a Shaggy Dog podcast.
Have a great week.
Yeah,
Bye,
take care.
everyone.
Bye
Bye.
bye.